Thank you. I'm planning to start the meeting, but we first have a karakia. So if people would stand, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, can I go straight to the early appointment? Apologies. We've received apologies from Marie, whose son is unwell at present and in the public hospital system, Tyler for early departure, and Debbie and Andre are on Zoom.
Yeah.
Can I have a mover? Mover, Mark.
I can't vote.
Seconded, Sarah, thank you. You see, I've been away for a week or so. Oh, goodness. So all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Now, we're very pleased to welcome Luke Chandler to our board. We moved that about a week ago and it was fully confirmed. So all we're doing today is getting a declaration from Luke, oral and written, and it's then signed off by myself in lieu of Marie and Matt McClintock from council. So Luke,
You right, Helen?
so I think if you
I need to read something.
read yourself, thank you.
I, Luke Alex Chandler, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton community the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Thank you, Luke. And thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to sign.
I just one vote.
I'm going to claim it. Yes, is it both?
Yep, both.
Sorry, I
That's all right.
wasn't expecting to be here in this capacity. Thank you. So I can sign. Thank you.
Sorry for moving.
You actually have to sing a wire as part of the swearing in as well.
If you wish to say anything, you're very welcome to say something, or just be silent.
I've written something.
Thank you.
That I'd like to say.
That'd be good.
Well, kia ora and welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today. Special thanks to my friends and family for attending physically and virtually from around the Motu. It's truly an honour to be asked to step up to the board to represent Riccarton. This is something that I'm excited to hit the ground running on and give Riccarton a full seat of voices, something desperately missed for the last 5.5 years. To those that don't know me, here's a bit about me. I'm a self-employed business consultant specialising in IT and employment relations, supporting both businesses and employees. I also run Mythical Fibre. It's a Riccarton-based internet service provider focused on keeping our local community connected. Alongside my work, I'm proud to serve as the current chair of Neighbourhood Support Christchurch area, helping to build stronger, safer and more connected neighbourhoods across the city. I've been involved in a number of projects across the years, including through Rebuild Christchurch, the Church Corner Residents Association and Karevi Residents Group. I care deeply about this community and the people who live here. I believe in being vocal with solutions, not problems, and here to be practical, present, and an engaged team member for Riccarton, and someone that shows up. I'm here to think independently. I'm not going to be told by others or those around me on how to vote, but I'll definitely consider everyone's views before making an independently informed decision. Thank you again to everyone who's turned up, and let's get stuck in it.
Yes. Thank you, Luke.
Matt, one more photo, sorry.
And Luke's sister.
Oh, yeah, go on and take
Okay, rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't-
sorry, guys.
No, you guys did one.
One for you, thank you. Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Too much.
Welcome aboard, Waish.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Welcome, Luke.
Thanks, Deb.
Thanks, Debbie. Thank you. Declarations of interest. Marie Polisco, the chair, has
An apology. Marie's an apology.
an apology. Oh, so she can't have an interest. Okay. Andre Moore declared an interest in item 19.
Thank you.
He's present, so it's
Just call forward any declarations of interest.
Oh, are there any declarations of interest other than what's here potentially? No, thank you. We'll move on. Item number 4, the confirmation of previous minutes. Has any got a mover and seconder? Mover Marks, seconder Henk.
Can you just make it clear that it's the minutes of the last ordinary meeting? Both sets of
Okay,
minutes.
so I've just been reminded it's confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board on Thursday, the 10th of April, and the extraordinary meeting held on the 1st of May. That was the meeting where we fully confirmed Luke. So all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried.
Yes. I
Moved,
vote.
Mark, seconded Henk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5, we're now coming to the public forum. We've got one group who's pulled out. That's the Step Ahead Trust. And we've got 3 speakers. Each speaker has 5 minutes, including questions. And if one wants to ask for an extension, that's a request from the board. So the first speaker is the Hornby Toy Library, and we've got people here from there, I hope. Thank you. If you'd like to come to the table and say who you are, and welcome. And thank you for coming.
No worries. I'm Tessa. I'm the current chair of the Hornby Toy Library. I was elected October last year. Walked into a little bit of a interesting situation. About 3 years ago, coming up, our lease has technically expired. We would like your guys' support in obtaining a much more permanent spot on our site. We've currently got a letter from Collier's requesting us to resubmit an application for our lease. I haven't necessarily read over the entire terms, but we really would like to be a permanent part of the old Sockburn School grounds.
Okay, thank you.
We're hoping for a letter of support from you guys.
Right. And you've come as chairperson of the Hornby Toy Library,
Yes.
or chief leader of some.
So Amanda, who is the previous chair, was supposed to be with me here today, but unfortunately she's unwell.
Okay. Okay. So is there anything else you wish to add? Because we'll have questions.
I think that's our main issue here today.
Okay.
We've sort of exhausted all of our options for moving. We own our building, but just not the land.
Okay, thank you.
Ask her who owns them.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Ask her who owns them.
Who's this? I can't come back to that. So I've got questions. Tyler and then Mark.
Don't know. So just to understand, is this the Ministry of Education land that you guys are?
I believe it is ministry land, yeah.
Okay, and that's the left part of the land when you're approaching from Dunsprings Road off. That sounds right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We're in the tiny little corner right by the lights.
Right, and it's currently being managed by Colliers, who have then asked you to submit a renewal
Yeah,
application, and you're asking for the community board's support.
yes.
I see. What kind of support were you after?
Mostly just physical support to back us up.
Sure.
Bit
of admin, and maybe a letter of support from us would probably be helpful.
That's the biggest part, yeah, a letter of support.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. A question from Mike Peters.
Yes, so you've been on that site probably longer than you can remember, I'd imagine.
Longer than I've been in the area. I believe it was in the late 90s we might have moved. Yeah.
Yeah. So naturally, it would be a really good thing to find a way to stay there. You've got a good spot in the community. Everybody knows where you are.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, could I ask staff, could we get together a letter of support on that and send that through the board?
So what are you asking, Mark, again? Sorry.
It's just asking if we as a board could write up a letter of support to support the toy library and gaining a more secure tenure or lease on that
Okay.
site.
Thank you. I've got some questions here. We're running out a bit out of time, but Tyler first, then Sarah.
Sorry to jump in on Mark's one too, but maybe some administrative assistance around what the toy library's rights are around
Yes.
the property management and things like that.
Okay. So is the general agreement we do a letter of support? You fine? Okay. Thank you.
And
So now
Yes,
a
with this, could
question.
we get the property team to engage with them to help in any way they're able to?
Not our team, it's not our team.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we don't.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was
So
there,
local advisors are supporting the.
Sarah?
I was just going to ask for context, could you just tell us how many families in the area use your
I
approximately?
believe we're around 100 families,
Yeah,
so quite a few.
and they regularly come and hire toys. And
Yeah,
then-
after about a year, 6 months to a year of not seeing a family, we'll put their membership on sort of a hold. They don't completely get taken out, but their number is removed.
Yeah,
So that does alter as it goes. Yeah,
yeah,
but it's generally steady around 100.
that's good. Yeah, great initiative.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. A question from Heath. I'll
Yep.
wind it up.
Not taking anything away from you guys, but is the building that you've got, is it a building that's suitable for the job? Is it big enough, for instance?
It's a little bit on the smaller side,
Yep.
but it does cater to what we're
So
requiring.
you're not looking at expanding?
We were discussing potentially adding a shed onto the site within our own fenced area.
Yep.
But we haven't come to a conclusion on that yet.
Oh, one more. I'm very lenient.
So you're doing good cheering. So with that in mind, would you perhaps ask the ministry for perhaps a larger footprint than what you've already got, just as a safeguard?
Potentially, we've got a lot of sort of land that we don't necessarily use within our fenced area. That's enough for a 20-foot container to go on, plus extra land to remain.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we've agreed to send a letter of support. Do we send it to you
Yeah, if you should
to forward on?
to the chair email, that would be wonderful.
Thank you. That's great.
Wonderful.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Tessa.
Hallswell Anzac Day service. There's someone to talk to us about. Thank you. Oh, Adele, thank you. Come to the table. Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for seeing us today.
Mhm.
I'm Adele Jarretts. I'm the secretary for the Halswell Residents Association. Thanks for letting us report back on the Anzac Day celebration. It was very well attended. We had approximately 2,000 people come to the service. This year, our MP Vanessa Winnick did, who is a return service personnel person, introduced the event. And each year, more young people are engaged in the commemoration, especially through our local schools and high school. This year, a senior Hill Morton High School pupil, Lishane, explained that she hadn't known anything about Anzac Day before this year. So she gave an amazing speech. And it's a true highlight to remember our past and to share that knowledge with our community. So it is a true highlight of the Halswell community. Her speech was well received by those attending, and she also reminded us last year of Sia Soni's presentation, which she commented last year about how war graves are better taken care of in Turkey than here in Christchurch. But we're proud to say that our memorial is looking really lovely thanks to new hedge planting that we've done and due to the care and attention that our community has put in through the Residents Association. And the service was organised between the Lions Club, the RSA and the Halswell Residents Association, the local groups working together to put on this memorable event for our community, none of which would have been possible without the financial support of the community board. So thank you very much. While it may be a simple gathering to some, it has a huge importance to our community. And we were also very grateful to the community board who helped us get our programs printed at A3 size, which is double this, making it easier for a lot of the older people to read the text that we put in our service at a very affordable rate, I must say. So thank you very much. And yes, without the continued support of the community board, we would not be able to provide the level of service and engagement within our community. So again, thank you very much.
Good. Thank you for coming in. And I've got a question from your local councillor, Andre, who's on Zoom.
Yep.
Go ahead, Andre.
Hey, thanks so much, Adele. A question for you. Do you know where the Residents Association is at with liaising with staff around suggested road names for new streets around the area? Reason I ask is we've just named one after a Halswell War veteran, and there's a number, more names on there.
No, I'm sorry, Andre, I don't have an answer with that. We haven't had a lot of engagement with developers in the last sort of while, so no.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take that one up at the next residents meeting. Nice one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We've got time for any other questions? Well, I want to thank you for doing this. I think when I went, you had about 1,000 people. So it's obviously growing with a growing suburb too.
Yes.
So thank you for your hard work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Adele. Thank you.
Thank you.
Springs Road footpath construction, 5.3. Cody Cooper is going to talk about the Springs Road footpath construction. Thank you.
Just wait a moment. Cody has.
So
I just need to share that with those people.
oh, he's but so you've got a presentation, Cody.
Yes.
Okay.
Clean. The turn on the side. Right. The switch on somewhere. No, it wasn't. I should know that.
In is Springs Road in Hornby or Horsell?
Towards the boundary, actually.
Okay, on the boundary. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, still
Okay.
Do we need to click
5
on
minutes.
Is the clicker there?
they're not working.
Might need to move this for Joel's. There you go.
Yep.
There goes.
Right, no trouble. Look,
Magnetic.
thank you for letting me be here today and to speak to this one. Just a bit of history, I guess, from where I am. So I moved into sort of greater Wigram area, I don't know, 2017, 2018 or thereabouts. There was a new housing subdivision and there was great footpaths within this area. It's fantastic walkability. We have so many parks that are nearby and it's just brilliant, and especially if you've got a young family, to be able to get around so easily. In fact, it was just easy. To a point, because this area has changed, right? And so previously, actually, where we lived was farmland. And so it has changed. We can see here it's changed actually quite a lot. In the 2000s, and then there was the motorway that was built, the Southern Motorway. And so we sort of got an industrial use there's a mushroom farm, etc. But actually we were lacking basic things. Of course, we had flushing toilets and so on. It wasn't that basic, but we were missing some critical things to be able to really get around easily. And footpaths is what we were lacking. We actually did eventually get those paths. And the thing that I want to leave with you today is actually paths connect people, right? Getting around after it was built was so much easier. At that time, you know, my son was young. It was during COVID times. Actually, in fact, there was not a lot to do other than go for a walk, go to work, and then, you know, watch that, you know, 7 p.m. briefing, God forbid. Getting around was really hard. The road was really uneven. It was overgrown. In fact, my partner stumbled a number of times. She broke her ankle. It wasn't great. It was quite dodgy. You would have seen in one of those original images, it was an 80k speed limit that was going through what is now actually an urban area. Now the path is built, maybe reluctantly, I don't know why it took so long, down Woolworths Road. SPCA volunteers I've met in this area actually tell me that they are walking, you know, dogs around, and I think that's just fantastic. It's a really great thing that people are volunteering there. It's great for the animals to get them out, and it's also great for the local community to connect with their local park. That's my son using the path not long after it's actually created at that time. It's really wide. There's no grass overgrowing it. You know, it's simple, it's easy for him, and it's just a way for us to get around, and he really enjoys using it. But it wasn't really possible before. So there are still too many gaps. For some reason, actually, the path stops here. I've made a petition online and more than 20 people actually signed. This is a really important walking and cycling connection towards the end of Springs Road near Woolworths Road. But it's not the only one. There is so many missing footpaths, not just in Halswell, but actually in Hornby as well. Outside Ravensdown, which is basically like the main thoroughfare, right? And we've got so many people living there, working there. Outside the bit where it goes through Halswell Junction Road, along the main road again. There's just so many. This project here, which people have signed, more than 20 people have signed to say, let's build the footpath that's missing at the end of Springs Road, is one of the top 5 construction priorities in this council. By council staff own admission, and yet we have work undergoing there with no coordination today with the upgrading pipes. No one can tell me when this footpath will be built. Why can't we say this? And also, why are we going to disrupt everyone twice after we've already disrupted them and set up the site once to put pipes in? It does make sense.
So have you asked council staff?
I have.
You have. It's not clear.
It's not clear.
Okay.
And so, look, I would just say to you, when you're looking at decisions later today, we need to focus on what's really essential, right? And that is, how do we connect? How do we connect with our neighbours? How do we get around? How do we enjoy our parks? And that is building those paths. That is the most important thing.
Thank you. So I've got a question from Mark and then Andre. Mark? We're running out of time too.
Very good. So you'd be familiar with the idea that this footpath has been included into the footpath extension program through the last LTP.
Yep.
And that we're awaiting the prioritisation of that lengthy list. And are you also aware of the level of service in council regarding walkable cities?
Yeah.
And I'm picking that you'd be of similar opinion to myself that this would be a key connector to help make it a walkable city.
It's a really basic piece of infrastructure for people to get to and from that park. It's not safe here today, as you saw with the path that is for my son. He enjoys, and I mean, he's 4 and he can bike for like 5 kilometers. It's such a great thing, and it's well used, including for, like I said, the volunteers at the SPCA. I think it's just fantastic.
Have you seen people walking along that stretch of Springs Road like I have?
I'll be honest, I actually haven't, but I'll tell you where I have seen people walking, and it's along the train tracks outside the Woolworths. And
yes.
And that is very concerning to me. I know it's not well used in terms of trains, but it is well used in terms of people wanting to walk.
Yes.
Yep.
Very good.
Thank you. I'll go to Andre.
Just a heads up, so the council briefing and update on the new footpath program is this coming Tuesday, assuming the date hasn't changed.
Good timing.
Thank you.
Okay. So I didn't quite catch, he's saying it's coming up on Tuesday, is it?
Yes, the briefing on the new footpath program
Okay.
was going to council.
It includes that, does
Yes,
it? Good.
yeah.
So then could we send an email to Cody once we've had the briefing?
Oh, I think he'll know.
He'll be able to.
It's Cody.
He knows everything.
Yeah, so
The world one.
you could watch it too, Cody, if you want. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, I'll finish that and thank you for coming. Pleasure to have you. Now, I'm going to make the deputations by appointment. Ross McFarlane will talk to the board on the Quaith Road corridor report. And thank you for coming in, Ross.
Good evening all.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
As quick as I can, challenging agenda for you tonight, when you've got situations like this. I'm going to pass around a little handout, 12 copies there. And thank you, Faith, for bringing up this overhead. You've all seen this before.
Yes, so please start.
But what do I want to achieve tonight? First of all, we're going to introduce myself. Ross McFarlane, some of you may know my face, a former community board member, 2016 to 19, I think. I deal with it in our community. I have a background in planning. I went to the independent hearings panel, which is post-earthquake. Very proactive with the Southwest Area Plan and planning for Halswell as such. Got a great deal done at the independent hearings panel towards getting outline developments plans as a key component of the district plan as a reference point. I mentioned this before recently in council. This, I think, is page 103 on your agenda, but that's the big blob of orange, which in its day was the pre-planning map for Southwest Halswell area. That blob of orange now is virtually completely full of housing. The amount of subdivision is huge. I think, and might have had it up the wrong way. Might help. Probably 1,300 homes in that area. Added to Longhurst and Knightstream, which was 1,795 homes. So it's a significant amount of development. The report before you tonight from the staff, and I thank them for doing this because this situation has become that infrastructure has been installed in the roads without coming past the community board for approvals, primarily in rural areas interfacing in Halswell and also in Belfast. And it has become a problem as smaller subdivisions begin to evolve, if you like. The master planning of Longhurst, etc., 1,795 homes, has been pretty good. Southwest Area Plan was the guiding document for that, and really was probably the most significant planning document that led us out of the earthquake housing dilemma as a number of people moved from the east to other areas. What do I want to achieve tonight? Well, I want to share some of the local knowledge that I've accumulated through the bits that I've just mentioned. And I want to see some mechanism come about, and council have already sort of fessed up to this, if you like, to assist developers and the community board to see some of these developments a lot earlier than as is now. Tonight, I'm going to refer to the CCC as an entity. I'm not going to mention names of developers. There's two parts of my delegation tonight. One is the decision you face, and one is labelled section 7.2 on your page 107 as the next steps. The decision you asked tonight to me is very simple. It's option 1. you completely accept what is already in the ground without question. Why is that? Because it's exactly what is in the district plan, it's exactly what is in the outline development plan, and it's exactly all the intentions of council, developers, and people who move into the area. They know what they were moving into. I note here, though, that there's a couple of pages, 103 and 104, which you are being told as the plans that have been constructed. It's not quite the case. I'm sorry, what you're being shown on your map tonight does not include multiple series of yellow lines. It also highlights another area, which I'll touch on later, but it does not show a recreational corridor running through the Mad Eye Springs Quace Road intersection, which is of concern. May want to ask the staff to just check on that. Don't think it should affect your decision, but it is it's probably just correcting things. Back in January this year, I did a couple of snap sends and solves about some of the scenarios that we're presenting in these subdivisions. And one of them was the speeds of the intersections. We have developments in Halswell that have 2 speed limits in them. 60 kilometres an hour from one direction and 40 kilometres an hour from the other. But the feedback I got from staff is the default will be 50 kilometres an hour. So, excuse me, what's happening? The other option tonight was option 2, which was to have these much hated speed bumps removed. Well, I don't think that's a practical option for council or for the ratepayer. I support lowering of speeds at problematic intersections. Most people would. The cost of accidents are high, the suffering even greater. I do not support illogical placements of cushions, ramps, and raised platforms for what appears to me to be a cover mechanism for poor initial planning and decisions made at the consenting stage. CCC must take ownership of the situation, and I commend them to bringing it back to the community. No one likes to admit they were wrong. I acknowledge the quality of the staff report tonight. The information before you is good, but albeit a wee bit late. We need a consistent process, and the change of process is needed. And reading into the CCC's online briefing recently, this is exactly what's happening. I also appreciate the difficulty for staff planners and transport people. The sheer volume of resource consents for subdivisions are enormous. And I ask, are they sufficiently resourced to do the job well and avoid these mistakes that have presented to you tonight? And I think that's a key critical point. There is a lot of work going on. The integration of it is really tough. More so when you've got a 1,100 section subdivision and a 5-hectare subdivision, sorry, a 5-section subdivision. It's really tough to link it all together. Part 2 tonight of my delegation, I'm going to have to rush pretty quickly here, aren't I? Is the future plan stage. There's a small error here, and it should be corrected, and that's section A412. It mentions that the developer of some of the works tonight is Savey's Estate. That is not correct, and it needs to be clarified. Savey's Estate is a very large Canterbury-driven developer. He should not be tagged with the other developer, which you'll note is on that handout I've given you. My real concern is I live at 52 Quace Road, and unbeknown to me, I am receiving a 55-metre long, 100 millimetre high raised platform. I have had no input to that. No one has approached me. And yet it has taken the whole frontage, sure, road beam frontage, it's taken the whole frontage off my property. Okay, I mowed that diligently, 25 years. And it disappeared under a digger in less than an hour. It mentions tonight future works. These are not future works. They are happening right now. And you are faced tonight with the decision whether to go back and remove a speed ramp, or my point being you should agree with it, leave it there, have it done. But if things aren't done really quickly, the same scenario could happen next month, where you'll be here with the same decision. Shall we keep this speed hump or shall we not? The cost of that speed raised platform, humps, cushions, raised platforms, $165,000. That's shared between developers, but that is money they have to return back off the sections they sell. And that may not seem significant amongst the amount of money that's been transacted in these pits. If you're a homeowner and you've saved your butt off, so to speak, you've finally got there, and then there's the section. Oh, sorry, it's actually going up $16,000 because this subdivision was consented by council, and then approximately 9 months later, a speed review was done. Now, that speed review made a developer put a speed hump in. I think there's opportunity, and I'd like to see it happen, that the speed hump's removed. Going back to the handout tonight, the reason I asked that is you see a few squiggly pink lines on there. That intersection there is the new connection between Candies Road. I'm going to go to the screen and point it out.
Thank you. We're slightly over time, Ross, but just
quickly.
but continue.
It's here. The outline development plan, the rules of the district plan said this road was to stop. But
Ross, can you please point to the board behind Helen so I can see?
There's any room.
Point to that board there, please. It's the same picture.
It's the
Same picture, but the
You've been promoted, mate.
Yeah. That the ODP and the district plan says the road is to stop. Unfortunately, it wasn't. So they've allowed this loop and two intersections now join. They're allowing a T intersection to join on a curve. It looks dangerous on paper. It'll be worse in a car. My point here is this ramp is the one outside my place here. Look at the size of this ramp compared to the other major ramps that you're approving tonight. It's massive. It is unnecessary. Outline development plan says another road comes through here and a collector road joins there. I hate to think that another ramp has to go there, because with this, there will be now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 ramps down Close Road. I know I'm out of time and I apologise for going over time.
Look, I think we can just open it up for a few questions, because then we'll get you to stand back from the table. So I think it's important that people ask questions. We are over time. I've got a first question. So your house is the one I've been to then? You haven't changed houses.
Seems a long time ago, Helen.
Yes, but that's
I'm still there.
okay, thank you. Any other? Mark.
I heard you talk about a piece of Horsell in a subdivision that has 60 in one direction and 40 in another. Is that on a divided road?
No, or is it the intersection which you're approving a ramp on tonight, the intersection of Quace Road and Matai Springs Road? There is no speed limit being allocated to what was a new subdivision by a major, national developer. I'm not going to mention names because it just conflicts things. So that subdivision is entered off Murphy's Road out of the Longhurst subdivision, and it's a 40 km/h road. But if you come off Waipuna Road, there is no posted speed limit. So the default is the one you've already been on, which is 60 km/h. The rest of Longhurst, Knightstream, Cloverton is all 40 km/h. And I well know that because I was on the board when we made that decision.
Yeah.
And I can just about guarantee you too, I was the first one to get a speeding ticket for exceeding. So yeah, dumb as this end.
So can I ask, so when it's 40 and 60, is that the current, or is staff planning to make it lower or higher?
My snap, send and solve reply was that the default will probably be 50.
Okay.
So that is another mix.
Yeah.
Remembering all these subdivisions connect together, Sean.
Yes.
So you're going to need to default based on the number of people that live in these areas. You need to default the speed limits down, more so because the roads are narrow. You can't have a 50k road. Remember, there's parking on both sides. Look, thank you for the extra time.
Andre has his hand up.
Oh, I've got a question from Andre. Thank you.
Just
the last question.
Just a quick note, and thanks so much, Ross. You've summarised it all beautifully. The government changes to speed limit rules have made it near on impossible for us to lower speed limits. So I'll clarify this area with staff when they speak to us. But we're going to have that issue right around Halswell in different areas.
Okay. Thanks, Andre.
Near Andre is, so why is one end of a subdivision now 60k?
16.
Council have known since 2021
Noting the time.
that this subdivision was occurring.
Okay. Thank you, Ross, for coming in.
Well, good luck. Simple decision to me.
Now, if I could say too,
I agree with them in that.
I'm planning to move item 11 to the start of our agenda once we come to the items, and I'm going to move your item up as well. So you're very welcome to stay.
Because I'd love to stay. I know I'm dressed a wee bit funny for me because I'm their school caretaker.
Oh, I see.
Tonight, my good friend, a guy started work in 1974, is having his retirement due.
Okay.
And I'll leave it to you tonight. I will be anxiously looking online to see the outcome, but pretty simple tonight. But it's those future options that the staff report mentions that are in fact happening now that need an urgent resolve, or else you'll be challenged to get.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ross.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
So I'll move to presentation of petitions. There's no presentation. Correspondence. There's been tabling of correspondence from Garth Wilson and Jocelyn Silcock to the appointment of the replacement Riccarton Ward board member. I just will take that as read, I presume. I will phone Mr. Wilson, but at least it's been formally lodged and you'll give a formal report. Will you say, or will you just?
We'll just say the board received it if that's what the board decides to do.
Yes.
We need a
Thank you.
mover and a seconder to receive that.
Okay, so I'll get a mover for the correspondence, Tyler, a seconder. Sarah, thank you. All those in favour say aye, that we have received the correspondence.
Aye.
Aye. Against, carried. Now, in terms of order and the staff reports, I'm bringing item 11 forward, and that's the proposed safety improvements on Suva Street, Owens Terrace and Hillary Crescent. The reason for this is that Tyler has apologised for an early departure. So our Riccarton councillor is important to he's here for that.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
The staff to the table. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think we actually met during the briefing, didn't we?
Yes.
You've been, both of you here for the briefing on this?
So there wasn't any briefing on this.
Oh, so it's first time.
I'm Gemma, I'm the Principal Advisor for Transport Safety Council. And Tina Weston is our new area engineer for Coastal Burwood. But she has been doing some work for me looking at school safety in the Riccarton area as well. So I'll pass over to Tina.
Sorry, I thought thank you. My phone is ringing, apologies. I've got a new phone, so I'm not sure exactly how to turn it off. So if we could go with your presentation, and then we'll ask questions. Thank you.
Perfect. So basically we're just here to answer any questions and queries regarding this report. We take it as read, so we'll pass over to you guys to ask any questions.
Luke.
Kia ora, my first time asking a question at the table. So what is there any plan to be able to slow traffic down into these streets? Because I noticed the speed bumps are set quite far back into the roads, and by the time someone's turned into that road, their speed may not have been reduced. They may not see it even. So I'm guessing, can the speed bump be brought forward further to Curlitz Road, if that makes sense?
It does make sense. So I guess within the infrastructure design standard, we have kind of general locations where we would put the speed hump. Curlitz Road is state highway through here, so the NZTA also have requirements about speed reduction measures on the approach to that road. As you turn into the street, you will see permanent warning signage of the speed hump. But we are we've put it as close as we can to the intersection within the realms that NZTA.
So we have a setback from Curlitz Road.
We do.
Okay, so flexi posts wouldn't be an option as the approach into that intersection because of NZTA to help, I suppose, like not narrow the road, but also narrow the road as a sort of a temporary way.
I think with the, I guess we just have to be a little bit careful with implementing things like bollards just in the road because we set tactiles where we would like people to wait to cross the road. So as soon as we start kind of encroaching into the road to provide, I guess, even further reduction in the width, that actually then we need to consider about where the tactiles are placed, especially for blind, visually impaired users. And then also they just become a maintenance issue. So if the narrowing is too narrow, that we have got on some of our local streets, then vehicles turning in just end up collecting the posts, and it's just an ongoing maintenance issue for council. So I mean the widths are kind of between that 7 and 9 meters that we generally design our local streets for, but older local streets. So I think the speed humps were, I guess, a value for money proposition that we can reduce the speeds at a low cost without significant infrastructure and meeting any requirements from NZTA.
And one last question, sorry, from me. I put through some feedback about a continuous footpath as opposed to a speed bump. Is that more of a cost prohibitive thing, or is that more because we can't because of NZTA? Or is it a mixture of both?
I'd say it's a bit from column A and a bit from column B. Okay, when we start looking at the continuous footpaths, and I know we do have some around the city, we also do have issues with those from people kind of, especially visually impaired users. They don't necessarily know where the roads are coming in, and then it's on drivers to be courteous and let pedestrians walk through.
Okay.
I think if we were to try it, we'd maybe look at kind of a high pedestrian area where we would look at continuous footpaths. Auckland have done some, and they're working well. But yeah, it's not something that maybe we would consider coming off Curlitz Road, just because, especially at school times, it's really busy, and children just need to be able to have cognitive awareness of what's turning in and out. So the speed humps just generally slow everyone down that little bit. Should there be another incident, which we don't want at that location.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've got a question from Tyler, then Mark and Sarah. Tyler.
Kia ora. Thanks so much for bringing us to the table. I know it's been 2 years in the making, and I know that we've gone through quite a lot of things around extending the curves, etc., etc. But the question I've got is around the approach. Now, For pedestrians crossing on the tactile pavers, the sightlines are still, the sightlines for the drivers are still visible, obviously. And where would you say that, where would you say is the point where sight or visibility is lost when they're using that momentum to turn around the corner? Would you say that it's around where the speed bumps are at the moment? So say, for example, someone's coming down Curlett's going 50 kilometers an hour, sometimes more.
Yeah.
They're using momentum like they did with this young child, and they ended up running over this child. It was at the point of the speed bump, not necessarily at the tactile paver point. Is that correct? Am I thinking?
I haven't been that far into the crash report to know exactly where the child was. My understanding was the child was going north-south and the vehicle turned. So you could assume that the child was crossing at the tactile paver. I guess the warning signage for the speed hump would be the indicator that you need to slow down and make the in the vicinity of the crossing point.
Okay, and just for public knowledge, if the board was going to go with option 2, if it was in order, where would the budget be coming from?
That's an issue. So it would have to come from the minor road safety program. And I guess that is covering high risk intersections as well as school safety projects across the city. That was prioritised and sent around all of the community boards for the next, I think it's 10 years. So if there was additional money to be spent at these 3 locations, we'd probably have to look to defer another project, because I guess next financial year, well, we've got a lot of the Halswell schools projects coming to you hopefully in June for approval for next year. So we'd have to see what additional budget we could find and where in that
They're
program.
really important too.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, do Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton have their own minor safety roads improvement budget, or is it for the whole city?
It's a whole citywide project.
And how much is remaining in the pot at the moment?
So we have generally about 1.5 million a year to do safety improvements across the city for high risk intersections, like Main South Yorkshire Riccarton. That comes from the same pot, the school safety.
Okay.
So we do try and prioritise within the 2, so not everything's going on high risk intersections. But yeah, that's what we're currently working with.
So there could be potential if we went with option 2, it would eat up 10% of the current budget that's standing.
Yes, and it would
For the
have to
whole
be
city.
next financial year, and then we'd probably, depending on if everything was approved for Halswell, then it might have to go to the following. Like we just
Gotcha.
working within
I see.
what we've got at the minute.
Yeah, you're working within budgetary constraints. So that means that you could get this delivered within the year if you went option 1.
If we went for option 1, I'd like to deliver it this financial year. Yeah, so by the end of June.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. A query from Mark, Sarah, then Andre. Mark?
I'm just looking at that cornering. Are cars generally slowing down to go around a corner, or do we really need to put speed humps there? Just tell them to slow down as a
So I guess it's 2 things. We do need vehicles to slow down, but it is also an entry to a local residential street. So even outside of school times, we've got them on most of our local residential streets. That there's a gateway signaling to drivers that you're entering a different space, and they are coming off Curlett's Road. I mean, it's quite difficult sometimes to remember what the speed limit is on Curlett's Road because there's not that much signage at times, which is something I think we do feedback to the agency. But at those busy times, especially during school times, we just want them as slow as possible. And at the minute, they are taking that corner fairly quickly, and the child was obviously hit, but quite seriously injured in one incident.
Yep, that's never good.
And sorry, just to add to that as well. So we've had 5 crashes over these 3 intersections in the last 5 years. 2 of them were serious. So statistically, we know that cars maybe aren't going the speed that they should be doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Then Sarah?
I've just got a couple of things here. So, well, firstly, coming into the stop sign, people will be slowing down to stop anyway. So I don't understand, help me understand why there would be the addition of a speed bump when people are stopping. So coming out of, say, Owen Terrace,
controlled stop sign.
there's already a stop sign there. Why would we need a speed bump in that part?
Yeah, so two things. Coming in, it's slowing vehicles down coming into the local residential streets.
From Curlitz onto Owens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, there's a tendency, and we would look, under the safer speed program, these streets would have got a 30 km/h speed limit, which we can no longer do. So having the speed hump with the advanced warning sign to remind people to slow down means that people crossing, I guess, from south to north do get the benefit of the speed hump as well, because then they get with the addition of the no stopping lines, they can see what's coming. They're not kind of hidden behind parked cars. And so having the slower environment means that the no stopping doesn't have to be as significant, because the
That makes sense. So the slowing down over a longer time. Yeah. Space. Okay. So I've noticed on Craven Street, where the bike lanes are, I'll describe it. There's crossings for the bikes to get onto the other side of the bike lane. And it's really hard to know, I go down there a couple of times a day, whether as a motorist you are giving away to the cyclists or the cyclists have to wait. So I'm just wondering, with the way that these are marked, with the diagonals, I think sometimes some people think that you cross over and you have the right of way over cars. Could this be confusion for pedestrians knowing where to cross?
I don't believe so. So the crossing at Craven Street is a cycle crossing, and yes, it's not always clear who gives way to who.
There's a give way sign, but you don't know if that means to the bikes or the
drivers.
motorists.
In this instance, the tactile pavers are at the crossing point and the traffic calming device is separate. So it's not, the two aren't close enough together for someone to think that they could walk over the hump and they would get priority.
Okay. And then the other question was just regard to the crashes. Without looking into the crash reports, how do we know exactly what happened in those situations? Were there adults present? Where exactly were they crossing? How do we know that these measures are going to help mitigate safety concerns, particularly when you're talking about those 5 crashes?
So I guess we've detailed as much as we can in the report without going into every individual crash. People are, Curlitz Road is a busy road. We know that at school times it's really busy, but outside of that, there's still the dairy and kind of local facilities that people walk to. So I guess the speed humps not only reduce the likelihood and the consequence of a crash happening, but it just makes it feel a bit safer for people walking around their neighbourhood as well. Like we heard from Cody Cooper during his talk, that people do want to walk around, and Curlitz Road can feel quite intimidating as a pedestrian, I guess. So having the speed humps on the local streets just makes that change of environment pronounced, and that the residents can move around their street more safely.
Yeah, and I'm not against making it safer. I just want to make sure that what we do is actually going to have the outcome that we want.
So without, I guess, significant infrastructure costs of, I guess you could look at pedestrian islands, but you'd have to widen the road. This is a low-cost option to slow traffic down, and that's what we're really keen on at this location, given the high number of school children. I wasn't aware if the parent was there for the really serious crash. I think it was with the child week with friends. But they are travelling to school as groups of friends, I guess, without parent supervision, and they should be able to do so safely.
Right.
Thank you.
I wonder if I can just move on. I've got a question from Andre, and then Tyler does need to go at 6:45. So I think we'll
5:45.
Yes,
would be great at the latest.
Andre, I meant 5:45. Thank you. Great.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
Thank you, Gemma. Have any of the accidents been from westbound vehicles?
I think, the scooter. We've had failures to give way on exiting Suva. So yes, there has been people exiting the intersection, not necessarily westbound in front of the hump, if that makes sense. In front of the proposed hump.
But there's been no accidents westbound that would have been prevented with a speed hump heading westbound?
No, I guess the failing to give way may have not happened if they had have slowed down, gone over the hump, and then assessed the situation a little bit better. But we don't have any conclusive data in the crash reports here that suggests that. No.
Thank you. Any further question, Andre?
Yeah, you're looking to add more yellow lines, but that will mean less cars parking and less narrowing of the road, which would naturally slow cars down a bit anyway when they're approaching that street. I'm just trying to understand why you'd extend the yellow lines.
So I guess the yellow lines have been assessed based on the industry standards that we use. Having the speed hump there does slow operating speeds down a little bit. But for a child standing on the tactiles, they still need to be able to see a certain amount. If we put the no stopping in and it's not helping with speed reduction or people are speeding up, then there is an option to reassess that. I don't ever think anything's set in stone when we build stuff. But yeah, for now, I guess children are a lot smaller. If we've got Hiluxes and Ford Rangers sitting on the road, it is a lot harder to see for them. So we've assessed it based on that lowered speed, operating speed with the speed hump. Without the speed hump, it could have been a bit longer. So I think tried to come up with a compromise around that as well.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why you've gone the yellow lines on the north side as well. Because the sight line, like you, of course, you know, from that north lane, a car's not going to be coming from the other side.
Yes,
so
I think, sorry, it is slightly shorter on the north side just because, again, we don't want the children looking through bigger vehicles for westbound traffic. But again, we can go out and assess that when they're in, and we can take some school children down as well to see how it's working. And if not, we can always revoke a section.
Thank you. But one last question from Mark, and then we'll move to putting a resolution and discussion. Mark?
I did have my hand up, Helen, but that's okay.
Sure.
We couldn't see you, did we?
There.
Just a quick query. Is it perhaps a safer option to remove the crossing point from the very edge of the intersection there and perhaps fence the corner and move the pedestrian crossing further down where the speed hump is perhaps?
So as not to confuse with the issue that Sarah raised, we would still want the two separate. Otherwise, we would look to more towards priority crossing so it's clear for everyone who's giving way to who. But also people walking, I guess, are using the most amount of energy on any journey, and asking them to walk further down the street to cross. I think sometimes when we put up the pedestrian fencing, children can be a little bit like, I'll just climb over this, it's fine. And sometimes it does create extra issues around safety. So
I've never seen someone climb a pedestrian restricting fence.
Oh, they definitely do.
Really?
Yes.
I'm guessing Tina might have
on
one.
Also, I think as well, it gets really hard because kids aren't just walking; they're also scooting and biking and kind of doing. I kind of sat there for a bit and watched them, and they were very everywhere and all over. So it is. Yes, it would in theory look good to kind of direct them further down, but I think in practice it probably wouldn't be work. It wouldn't be appropriate for the space.
Thank you. We've got a quick question from Debbie, and then we'll move to the resolution. Thank you.
Yeah, just with no screen sharing available this end, and I'm not sure if you do have something on the screen or not, but just you're talking about the intersections, etc., and the corners, and you're talking about Service Street and what street for the intersection?
Service Street, Owens Terrace, and Hillary Crescent North.
Oh, yeah.
Which is 49.
Okay. Yep. Know the area. Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you, staff. We'll ask you to stand back. Is there any resolution?
Yeah, I'd like to move option 1.
For
the staff rec.
Second that for discussion. Okay, Tyler. If some of you like to speak to it, and then we'll have other speakers.
Sure.
If required.
I'm really happy that this has come. I think everyone knows in the elected members catch-ups that we usually have at the end of community board meetings, I've raised this about 3 times, particularly with this area, which is Hillary Server. And I'm wanting to sort of just highlight a couple of things. We have hundreds of kids between the hours of 2:45 and 3:30, turning this area into a jungle. Server Owens and Hillary Crescent are all highly multicultural areas too, highly transient. There are also a lot of car users in the area, particularly boy racers, and there's even been loss of traction in all of those streets, but that's a different story. The thing we're talking about today is this corner where unfortunately a young child has gone under a car, not just been hit by a car, not just been bumped by a car, under a car in a serious condition. And what I wanted to do was to make sure that there was something for these school kids to make sure that they get from point A to point B safely. And it's turned out that this was an option that staff came because it was the cheapest. There were other options that I would have loved, and if we had $1 million more dollars, I would have loved to have pushed alternatives to make sure that this area was easier to use for both vehicle users and pedestrians alike. But this is the cards we've been drawn, so therefore that's why I'm pushing this.
Thank you.
This motion, because we can't do nothing.
Thank you very much. Any further debate? I would just say that Coolitz Road is extremely busy and it's extremely gridlocked at times, which must make it very difficult for people crossing too. It's just as hard to cross when it's gridlocked than when the traffic's flowing. So I'm supportive of this. Any further debate? Okay, I'll move the resolutions as proposed by our. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you.
Abstention, please, Madam Chair.
Yes, certainly. Mark and Andre abstentions.
And Debbie?
And Debbie? Thank you.
Can I just suggest we just keep the original agenda order now?
Yes,
So
now
we
it's fine.
have-
Yeah.
And
Yes, that was so we'll just go back to item 9 and the difficulty which Ross brought to us, we'll just keep that in order. Thank you. Proposed road names, various subdivisions. We've got a person at the table, thank you. The person moved, the person's second.
Oh, Maratiki?
Yes,
No,
no.
no. So you got them 9.
Item 9. Thank you, Tyler.
See you later.
So, I guess we've got it on the table, but you're welcome to speak to it now. Thank you.
You made my night, guys. Thanks.
Yes, my name's Paul Lowe. I'm just filling in for Sean Ward today, and there's 3 subdivision proposals road naming. Each of them are 3 smaller subdivisions in greenfield areas towards the end of the various development stages in those areas. One is on Awatea Road to the north of the motorway, and the other 2 are to the south of the motorway. In terms of the 3 options, the preferred names have been put up by the applicant. There are some alternatives. My general feeling is that the alternatives are probably stronger names, but they generally relate to what's going on in the locality. So 160 Awatea Road is proposed to be Quill Place. I didn't prepare the report, but there are some alternative names in there relating to plants, which probably more strongly relate to what's going on in the neighbourhood. At 440 Wigram Road is Logos Place, which relates to the former engraving business that was on the site. There are some alternative names put forward for that option as well. And the third option is at 304 Halswell Road, and that builds on some of the Anzac soldiers' names in the wider area, Nurse Rogers Lane.
Thank you. Any questions?
Happy to move.
Thank you. I'll ask you to stand back from back to the table. Open this up for a mover and seconder. Mark to move all three.
Yep.
Thank you. Henk to second. So now it's debate, discussion. Any, Mark, if you want to bring this
I
in?
think those names look perfectly fine. It's good to see Pearl Place finally being built and get a name. Been houses around that subdivision for donkey's years in various unfinished states, and it's good to see it finally progressing and getting done. So happy to see those named Pearl Place. It seems really appropriate, and happy to move these and get this done.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll move the recommendation.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Andre, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to move an amendment on the third, 5A, amend to read Poppy Lane.
I'll second that.
You're seconding that,
Poppy Lane from what, Andre? Sorry.
Yes.
Nurse Rogers Lane.
So if we could put that up, so I still haven't quite got that, Andre. What's the?
So 304 Horsell Junction Road.
Okay.
From Nurse Rogers Lane to Red Poppy Lane.
To Red Poppy, did you say?
Red Poppy.
Yes.
Which is one of the alternatives.
Okay. So I think we'll move, can I go back and move the first two names which are seemingly moved without debate? All those in just, sorry.
You could ask the movers and seconders if they're happy to.
Are you happy with
the
that?
motion?
Happy to change it.
Okay, so we're happy to go with the first two. Just,
No, it's half the count.
oh, you're happy to
Yeah,
accept the name? Are you?
yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we've got the three lanes or roads, and we're moving in number 5. We're approving 304 Horsell Junction Road as Nurse Rogers Lane is moving to Red Poppy Lane. Okay. So anyone wish to Mark, mover or seconder?
It's good.
If you want to move it, or are you just happy to move it? All right.
It's been modified, so it's
Yeah,
been
happy to
moved
modify.
and seconded by Henk. They've accepted.
Okay.
I do have one question. In the Office of Recommendations under 2.3, it says approves the following new road name for 160 Awatea Road, Pearl Road, not Pearl Place.
Okay, it's
So, and in the proposed name 3.17, it's listed as Pearl Place.
Yes.
Can we have some clarity as to which one it is to be?
Pearl Place makes more sense.
so could I just
It's a dead
clarify
end.
with staff?
It is a dead
Okay,
end.
if it's a dead end, then
Do you agree? Do you agree with that? There's been a slight mistake.
Typo?
Yes, it should be Pearl Place.
Pearl Place.
As a
Thank you. Good, thank you very
Good
much.
clarity.
We're away then. So it's moved and seconded all three resolutions with the change from Nurse Rogers Lane to Red Poppy Lane.
Yep.
Thank you. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 10. Matatiki Play Space. I wonder if staff could come to the table, please. Hi, Helen.
Hello.
I'm not rich. Your colleague is?
I'm Lou.
Thank you.
Mentoring.
Good. So if you'd like to take us through this.
Very excited about this coming to the board finally. Hopefully the board is very excited. So as you can see from the report, we are looking for approval around the plan and all the consultation, the exciting consultation that we did. And beyond that, we also did the pop-up play sessions over the Christmas period, which were very well attended. So yeah, it's whether the board has any questions.
Yes, any questions?
Looks great.
It looks really wonderful. Not Christian's happy to move.
Okay, so
Amazing.
I'll ask you to stand back. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A mover of the resolution, Mark.
And I'll second it.
Sarah was.
Sarah moved, I'll second.
Sarah moved, Mark.
You got to be.
Seconded.
You can do sometimes.
Right, Sarah,
Like an
if you want to start on this in
Yeah,
terms
sure.
of debate.
We'll just, yeah, we are really excited about it. And I think it's going to be a huge asset to the new Matatiki Centre, which is obviously all the interior play space with the pool and the library. But with this addition, I think it's going to be really good used in the summer and the winter time. I particularly like the tunnel, and I can see mums sitting out on the benches watching their children play in a safe space. And I think it's really awesome. You've done a great job. And really awesome engagement. I noticed the photos of the things that you guys made, the structures with the cardboard boxes and the wooden planks and hay bales.
You can't beat a cardboard too much.
Yeah, I was like, that's really cool. Yeah. And the pictures that you took of all the ideas shared on the day, I think your engagement went really well. So yeah, well done.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else want, Mark?
Yeah, look, I just want to, thank you for your great work on this. And as Sarah pointed to, it must have been great fun with all those little play things there with cardboard and hay bales and everything. Well done. And thank you so much for your hard work. And I just can't wait to see this put in place and see that outside area of Matatiki activated and to see it thriving with young families, young kids. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll put the resolution. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you.
Let's go and do it.
So we're moving past item 11 and on to 12. And that's the bus stop upgrades on Murphy's Road. So I'd like to, any staff here? Thank you. Andrew, thank you.
Can we just move that, Helen, because we did meet on site and the report follows on from the on-site meeting?
Yes, but I'm aware that we weren't all at the meeting, so I'd like Andrew to have a chance to actually speak to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matt Saul was unable to be here. I think he's at one of the other boards at their meeting, but yes, I was one of the staff members who was there. I understand there was some disagreement over the position of that particular bus stop. It's an outbound bus stop, so it's typically not one that the bus is going to be there for very long at, probably realistically about 10 or 15 seconds, if there's even someone to drop off and then away again. The concern was actually quite site-specific. It related to the property owner having a work vehicle that they wished at times, understandably for convenience, to park outside. In this case, there's actually quite a bit of space just at the head of the bus stop, the two driveways on the other property. So if there was a vehicle parked on the approach to the bus stop, there is actually space for the bus to stop just beyond it, which vehicles can't park in anyway. So I guess the verbal agreement on site between staff and the elected members was that the preferred option is to not mark the no stopping lines. But we felt that the bus stop would still be able to operate sufficiently.
Thank you. Any questions or queries on this?
Yep, that answers the one I had.
Thank you. I'll just stand back, Andrew. So a mover for the actual resolution?
Debbie,
thank you. Moved. A seconder?
Luke?
Helen,
I'll second it.
Luke, okay. Thank you. So, Debbie, if you wish to speak to this.
Yes, sure. Thank you. And thank you, Andrew, and staff on this matter for coming out on site and being able to offer a really practical and realistic solution for this. So, yeah, I just recommend it as per our discussion on site. Yeah, and how you've just summarised it there, Andrew. Thank you very much. It's a win-win for everybody.
Thank you. Any other comment? I'll put the resolution. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. The next one, item 13, is Hayton Road, proposed 10-minute parking restrictions. Andrew again, is it? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. this report comes from my colleague Edwin, who's been helping with some of the, or just the sheer volume of the jobs that we're getting in the Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton area. I've also looked at this initially. It relates to, I believe, a site which distributes frozen and fresh goods from memory, and they also have a small retail shop. Ideally, that sort of activity would be contained on site, but by looking at the layout of their parking space and their loading space off street, the most pragmatic location for people to stop to access that shop is actually on Hayton Road. We did explore whether it is better for them to do so off street, but yeah, it sounds like there was also quite well. I don't believe there's any opposition from those other property owners, those other businesses, so they may well also make use of that short space. There is quite a bit of all-day parking at times around here too. So just trying to support those who wish to visit that business.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No questions? I'll ask you. Yes, you have a question of us.
You see in the aerial photo, there's actually a car parked just before the.
Yep.
Yeah, it's illegally parked.
Yeah, I can see the yellow.
Just before the what?
That car there is parked illegal.
So just to clarify, that's existing, no stopping the ones, but it's illegal and parked in the photo.
You're not cutting out space or anything.
No.
Thank you, Andrew. I'll ask you to stand back. The mover, please.
I'll move it.
Luke, a seconder, Mark.
Got him there.
Luke moved, Mark seconded. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Now on to 14, the William Britton Milnes Kearns intersection. I'll get this Andy Milne, I think, is here to speak to us.
Mr. Milne himself?
Yes.
And Peter.
Yeah, we've got a group for them.
Yes.
Thank you.
I need blue in this.
Yes, if you'd like to say who you are too, I think so. Yeah.
I'm brought up Paul Lowe here. Can you introduce yourself again?
So I manage resource consents. I have been quite involved in the subdivisions in the past, and I guess I'm primarily here to help out if there's sort of technical questions on the subdivision process, which complements the traffic.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Andy Milne, Team Leader of Asset Transport Planning. And I invited Paul as well because the changes to the process for subdivisions going forward are a combined
thank you.
A joint work between transport and planning.
Thank you.
We got Peter Rogers and Transport and Neighbourhood Planner in Andy's team.
Thank you. So if you speak to item 14, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, so essentially this is about the William Britton, Milnes Road and Kearns Drive intersection. The report provides the context of what has happened there. Essentially, the new subdivision on the north side constructed Kearns Drive that turned a three-way T intersection into a four-way intersection. Four-way intersection needs to have some form of control at the safety audit stage of that. It was decided to put the Milnes Road as the one that gives way, because that is what's consistent with the ODP. Or will be when the future Collier Drive link is made. So this report seeks the board's approval for retaining what is currently there, changing the give way sign to a stop sign. This is based on technical advice from the traffic engineers. Based on the visibility, the difference between a give way and stop sign is just the visibility requirements, essentially. That is the only reason we put a stop instead of a give way, according to NCTA's guidance. The report also has options if the board chooses to go to consultation and further develop for future changes to this intersection.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to give the Halswell people, if they want it, the chance to ask questions.
Andre has a question.
Andre. Go ahead, Andre.
Thank you. Here are that. Now, something that's been a real struggle here is getting the agapanthus removed. Now, I sent this on as a service request sort of over a year ago, and the contractor came back and said the reason the agapanthus are high is because they're in full bloom. No kidding. That's kind of the issue. We need them gone. The last severe accident resulting in ambulance call out was a direct result of no visibility over the agapanthus. So I've been going around in circles for about a year trying to get them removed and haven't been able to. How do we do it? I guess is my question.
Andre, come and give you a hand.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
so the question is how.
Well, the question is we've had ambulance call outs from literally agapanthus, and no one and we haven't been able to remove them. So we're here talking about an intersection, and I'm still at a loss as to how to get these agapanthus removed. Like I've sent it everywhere it needs to go.
I'll give you space.
Okay, have you got the question or what?
I've got the question, but it's more of an operational request rather than a planning request.
I suppose the board could put a resolution to ask staff. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, yeah. I reckon that is the way to go.
Who owns the agapanthus?
Council.
On council land. Thank you.
Yes. So I'll go to Debbie and we might come back to Andre.
Sure.
That oh yes, you can hear me. That intersection has been quite contentious for some time. I have sent a roundabout picture to both Andre and Mark if you want to have it ready in case we want to show it. I'm just wondering whether or not the roundabout that I should have sent it. I just didn't have my iPad while I'm away, sorry. The roundabout that I've seen up here in the North Island, I've not seen ever in Christchurch, and it's a small, tiny circle, and then it looks like a daisy because it's got the wee rubber raised red and black things so that trucks can go round it in a small roundabout. So if one of you has them there and wants to flick it through to Faye to put up, would be great. I'm just wondering if that could be an option because whatever we put there seems to be a problem.
So that's the question. Could we do this option? And the other expression saying that everything that's done there is a problem.
Well, I'm just saying that everything we've tried seems to end up being contentious or accident prone. Whereas if we have a roundabout there, it's going to slow things down. And this particular type of roundabout that I have you got it there, Mark?
When did you send it to me, Debbie?
Was it yesterday? Via.
I think I can give you an example. There's one outside Mount Wanganui Hot Balls in total.
Sorry, can I just have one person at a time? So the question is, have you got a comment on a roundabout?
A full-size roundabout would be outside of what we could.
It's not a full-size roundabout that I'm referring to.
Look, I think that the recorded crashes that have happened are they're not unexpected when you change priority from one way to the other. You get a few crashes to start with, and that's what happened here. And then it tailed off. Now we've had a couple.
Well, actually, hold on. A lot of the complaints. The recorded crashes. So this is the problem is also that the recorded crash record that appears in the police database and in the crash database is never a complete record because for whatever reason crashes don't always get reported. So certainly we had an awful lot of complaints when the change first happened in the first few months. After about 6 months or so, we didn't receive many more tickets about it. There was a few about the agapanthus, I believe, and which were all generally at the end of summer.
Yes.
So, you know, that's similar with the growth season and all that.
Look, I think
But the only crash that has actually occurred and been recorded by the police was one in January of this year. That was a minor injury crash.
that's right. My point is that a small roundabout may not make that intersection any more visible than it already is. Okay, in fact, I believe stop signs would probably add another layer of safety and another layer of messaging people on Milnes Road that they've got to yield to the other direction.
Okay, thank you.
I've just sent the roundabout picture to Faye. If you're able to bring it up, Faye. Because it just highlights the simplicity of the roundabout and how it will be less of an expense and yet easier for a small roundabout intersection. Have you got it there, Faye?
Yep, it's on screen.
Yeah, it's on screen now.
Yes, it's on the screen.
Are we able to screen share at all?
So have you got a comment about this particular?
Yeah, it's a sort of a temporary solution, temporary sort of treatment. Well, removable sort of treatment. The traffic operations team has done one of these in Christchurch and Ranelli, I think. That looks pretty similar to this. The problem with this particular intersection is that it's not a fully square intersection. It's more almost rectangular because we've got that very wide island. So it may not work with the geometry of it, at least not without more expensive works. And I suppose as we will be investigating other works, we can investigate the feasibility and potentially the cost of this. But I think because it will involve probably quite a bit more carriageway, which is currently that cobbled brick surface, that might drive the costs up a bit.
Thank you. Can I just go back to Andre and see if there's any other question, Andre?
Thank you. Yeah, I just need to correct one point made that there'd been one mine accident there this year. There have been two, both resulting in ambulance call-outs. You mentioned that when the intersection got changed, and it was also changed without any warning to the public or not notified. You mentioned that you expect some crashes. Like, how many would you expect? And would you expect accidents resulting in ambulance call-outs?
I don't think we'd say that we'd expect crashes. We'd probably expect some complaints from the public.
Oh, no, you mentioned that when you changed the right of way, you'd expect some accidents, is what you said.
Sorry, that was my language, and it wasn't the correct language. No.
Okay. No,
thank you.
All good. And you mentioned that agapanthus was mentioned as a complaint in the first 6 months. What was done with those?
No, it was about a year afterwards.
Okay, so agapanthus was mentioned a year afterwards.
I don't know because that ticket wouldn't have come to me, so I was not actioning that.
Okay.
Proved down, I would hope.
Thank you.
I can take that offline. I can follow up on the agapanthus.
Yeah, the agapanthus I'd be keen to put in a resolution.
Thank you. And I think we might take it back to the broader table now for questions.
I've still got more questions.
I've got Sarah and Luke, and I'll come back to you, Andre.
Just jumping around does make it take longer.
I am jumping around.
Andre's, if that's all right.
That's what I.
You fine?
Yep.
Andre, go ahead.
Thank you. I think kind of what Debbie's asking is why roundabout cost has to be as much as $2 million. Do you know what the cost of the roundabout a couple of 100 meters down the road was, for example?
It was built by the developer, so but we would not have costing.
Yeah, all cool. No, that's my questions for now. Thank you.
Inquire, but that was also built as a fully greenfield development, so they had no traffic management costs at all.
Yeah,
so no services underneath it.
Yeah,
this has got services.
Yeah. Cool. Thank
you. Fine, and Andre at present. Okay, Sarah and then Luke.
it's obviously not your standard intersection, so I can understand the complexity of it, but I'm just curious to know if you had a bottomless pit, what would be the perfect solution for this? If money wasn't an object?
I'm not hypothetical, but we've got to bear in mind that the Milnes Road, its use will diminish once Dunbar's Road is connected to Colliers.
Yeah.
Right, so it will always be a local road, whereas and this movement that's happening now should transfer to a much higher order road, which hasn't got a roundabout and it's got signals at the other end. So I think we've got to bear in mind that this will become a lower order intersection through time. And through time, the movement between, I call it north-south, but it's between Sparks Road and Halswell Road will diminish over time.
How long are we thinking though?
Well, that depends on the subdivision, but we have an application in for subdivision now, and we're discussing conditions of staging conditions. So how many units can they build prior to them connecting up to Dunbar's? So I can't go into too much more detail, but we are landing on a stage development. I can't tell how long it'll take because it depends on the market. It depends on the developer's expectations of when he's going to build those houses with a view to selling them.
Within 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Could be. Yes. Yeah, we can never guarantee.
Of course.
It
So
depends a bit on NZTA as well, because they need to change the NZTA's intersection.
right. So I guess the main complexity with this one is these islands. Is that correct? The islands in the middle that
that's what makes it quite unusual.
Yeah. And so do we have other intersections like this in Christchurch, and what have we done with those?
It seems like Fitzgerald Ave, which has got wide islands, but that's not a great example either. It's a
Yeah.
3-lane.
That's quite rare. And hence why it's tricky.
I think what we're putting forward here is another layer of safety. I mean, we've already we put up warning signs in advance and way after the change of priority. We put that up. We also we did subsequent improvements to it in terms of we've got the road humps.
You've got the temporary humps in.
Put these speed humps in. We also made sure we tried to make it as conspicuous as possible. So we've kind of gone beyond what we normally would for a T intersection. This is another layer here by taking board's approval to approve stop signs. They'll give another layer of direction to people to stop.
We've got a similar 4 stop signs in Hornby. I don't know how well that works.
They get ignored.
They get ignored.
Totally ignored.
This is the thing. If there's 4, you know.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a stupid system.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll move on to Luke. And yes, this is quite a difficult intersection.
So your preference is option 2A, is that correct? Because it just says option 2 in the recommendation.
2A has the red.
Has the red. That helps.
Oh, so was I looking at that?
Page 80 of our agenda. That helps.
Can you read that 2A, Luke?
Sorry, what was that, Debbie?
Can you please read that 2A?
2A, I'm just looking at the photo of the intersection. That's to improve the stop control and surfacing, the red proposed surfacing, page 80 of the agenda.
Oh,
I'm just trying to figure out what option of option 2 is the preferred.
I wouldn't say that it's the preferred. I would say that all of those options under 2, like 2A, 2B, 2C, or even temporary composure, they're all options that the board could consider. Well, they're more options for the board to provide guidance to staff on what you'd like us to go and develop tactical installations.
Oh, right.
So there's no preferred option from staff of those 3 in terms of cost, easiness, and time to implement.
Yeah, there's no real preferred option. I suppose from the each has got their advantages and disadvantages.
Mhm.
Say, a four-way stop with the speed bumps on each approach, that will just slow everyone down and everyone will just go through carefully, which is, to be honest, how a lot of people are driving through it now. A lot of people do drive through, stop in the middle and look both ways and so on. So that may not actually result in much in the way of behaviour changes. A left in, left out, like closing the whole island through there and making people go down to the roundabouts. That it eliminates the crash movements that are actually happening there. It will lead to people taking detours and doing U-turns, but they would typically be less severe than a 90-degree right angle crash. So from a safety perspective, that is quite good. From another perspective, from the perspective if you want to go straight through on Mills Road, it's bigger convenience. So it's
And when that new road link is built, is that the type of movement that people will be doing straight ahead on Mills Road?
probably not. Probably if they were going a longer, I suppose it's east-west from Halswell to Spark. If they were going in that general direction, that Collier Road at the roundabout would probably be the easiest.
Okay.
Can I just come in and ask? I've got two more questions from the Halswell people, but is this budgeted for this coming year or for this year?
It'd be next financial year because
Next
financial year ends in
next sort of financial
15
year.
days.
So if there's a bit of unease on it, which I think there is, there's the time for us to further reflect.
There's time to further reflect on the options.
Well, I'm not clear as yet. I'm not clear where.
Resolution 14, if you want to just table that for a month or two, and or whatever, that would be fine. Like it would mean that any future works would potentially be delayed even further. So they may be like,
okay,
you know.
Can I make a suggestion, Helen, please?
Yeah, can I just go now to Debbie if you've got a question?
Yeah, well,
and then Andre.
Yeah, thank you. So from what I'm hearing you saying, we don't have a clear option out of the three there. And what I'm hearing is that you're saying that this could become a low order intersection because of other roading activities that are being built, etc. Then my point is, why wouldn't we put in a small roundabout like the picture we put up before, which has those removable parts? If you want to put the picture up again, it has the removable red and black rubber parts that can be easily removed when it becomes a low order intersection, and it appears to be a cheaper option. And then you're left with the solid wee roundabout in the middle, which could stay when it becomes that low order intersection that you're talking about. So I am wondering if other board members agree, because I travel that intersection all the time, and probably Andre does as well, because there is no preferred option amongst the staff option there, whether we do in fact, as perhaps suggested by the staff member, that we do lay this on the table whilst we investigate the option of that small roundabout, because it can because it
I have to go to Andre, I'm sorry.
Because as mentioned, it will become a low order intersection, and this is just a functioning roundabout that you can put one in and then take those elements out once it becomes a low order intersection.
So Debbie, just a heads up. So I've sent through an additional resolution. So in number 14 in the resolution in the agenda, it's to provide.
Sorry, Andre, I can't hear you very well. Sorry?
He isn't spoken differently.
Okay, start again.
Okay, so Debbie, in number 14 in the resolution there, it's provide guidance for staff to investigate and consult on options for future layout, and it mentions 5 different potential options to be looked into. I've sent an additional resolution, which is 14F, which includes a permanent or temporary roundabout to also at least be investigated.
Can we add that picture in there, Andre? Would you be happy?
I can't add a picture into a resolution.
No,
No.
but I'm certainly happy to have that as sort of a concept. Yes,
I'm happy.
once we've asked questions of the staff,
we go with that, and that means it can at least be investigated. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll go and remove the Agapanthus.
I've also seen.
I think they have to leave that over to our staff and contractors.
And Andre's also sent through a resolution about requesting the removal of the Agapanthus.
Okay.
Yes,
I realise that. So look, I think we'll wind us up here unless you've got a further.
I want to comment the other resolution 1, 2 through 13. Those are to approve what is currently there, allow it to be the parking restrictions ought to be enforced and so on, and doesn't preclude, as per resolution 14, any future changes. So it's basically just to get everything.
Because they're not contented at the moment.
Yeah.
What's that?
They're not approved at the moment.
Yes. Yeah. So that means that the consequence of that is that if the board would not to approve something, nothing could be in. Well, the parking restrictions could not be enforced there.
Yes.
Cool.
Which can be a problem.
So you're saying that we could do 1 to 13, and then if there's any issues around 14, we can make some adaptation to section 14.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
okay.
section 14 is what we'll do in the future. Section 1 to 13 is just to get what's there now.
Legal.
Right. Thank you. No, that's helpful. One last question for Mark.
Yep. Those 1 to 13, it also upgrades the current control from a give way to a stop rather than just a give way. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That was due to the was raised by the area traffic engineer, the visibility to the due to things that cannot be removed as in private property fences and things. So,
Thank you very much, staff, for coming, and you please remain. We might have to call you back.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's 2 more reports after that.
We'll be on the next. Shall we start the table or just?
Yes. Thank you. Now we've got the resolutions. If people agree, can I get a mover for one?
Just wait a minute. I'm just adding Andre's words in.
No, but I'm actually, he's number 14, isn't he? So
Yes,
can I get a mover for 1 to in fact 13?
It would probably all be easy in one resolution, unless you want me to then add things.
One resolution, okay.
Just wait a couple of minutes. I'll get the words up and let you have a look at them.
Yes.
I've added a 14F and a 15.
Can we please have them read out so I can
I've emailed it through as well, but I can read them out to you now.
the whole lot?
The whole lot, that'll take hours, but I've added
It's 1 to 13. It's number 14, I think.
So 1 to 13 is deferring the whole thing at the moment?
No. 1 through 13.
No, I mean, that's an option. I'm just saying that's an option. The other option is to move 1 to 13 and adjust 14. And the other option is to move everything as is. So, I mean, we've got about 3 options at present.
So, Andre, can I have your take on that? I think you were.
Yep. So 1 through 13 is retrospectively approving the changes that have been made, but it also changes the give way signs into stop signs. 14 relates to options that staff will be able to consider for future changes to the intersection, and that's 14A through E. And I've added 14F, which is also considering a temporary or permanent roundabout of some description. And then I've added 15 on its own, which is for the Agapanthus plants to be removed with urgency. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for clarity.
Thank you, Andre.
But he wants a resolution.
Can I just get in principle, with 3 options? 1, we approve as is. I don't think there's any appetite for that. 1 is we approve 13 and sort of adjust 14. Is that where
I'm happy to move. I'm really keen to move the resolution that I've just talked about.
Yes, I realise that, but are we all comfortable with 1 to 13, basically, with the addition of the stop sign rather than give way? Mark?
This might be a question for staff again.
Go ahead and ask you.
the 1 through 13, does that include approval of the speed humps?
Yes. No, but
We've already approved those. We've already
Okay.
approved those.
It's been approved, yes.
Yeah, that was December.
The resolution would be the staff recommend, what Andre's moving is the staff recommendation.
Yes.
Which is 2 extra.
Yes.
So we need a seconder for that.
Yes.
I'm happy to second it.
Oh, Luke, then? Okay,
Hang on,
so
put it up.
Andre moved, Luke second, and Mark might be.
I've seen an
required if
email,
someone
I've seen
doesn't
the
like it.
draft in the email and I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
It's really tricky, yeah. And we haven't come to our big item yet. That's right.
Yeah.
At least I can stay a bit. Good done. It works in for me.
It's all happening in that southwest plan, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Is Debbie still there?
Yes, she is.
Where's on camera?
Followed by Hornby, yes.
Yeah, I'm here. Do you mind if I go to the toilet with the camera off?
Well, this is.
Highly preferred.
So sorry for the delay,
No worries.
folks, but the staff recommendation that's on the agenda, I've made a couple of changes. They're all highlighted yellow. So the first is, rather than the board giving guidance, the board requests that staff investigate, consult. Added, so the list of options there, added Andre's option of a permanent or temporary roundabout at the intersection of William Britton, and for the board requests the urgent removal of agapanthus plants. Are they on Mills or William Britton, Andre?
On William Britton.
Okay. No,
Andre, could you clarify why you want the
Visibility.
agapanthus removed?
Because they almost killed someone.
I'm sorry?
Visibility.
Because they almost killed someone a couple of months
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Twice, right?
They're blocking the line of sight, Helen.
Okay, thank you.
Edit that in. So now the resolution that has been, I think we need to move in second to 4 is the staff recommendations 1 to 13 plus that amended 14.
And I think it's got a mover and Andre, a seconder, and Luke.
Yep.
And if Luke falls over, well, then we get Mark. Luke falls out of it.
Hopefully not.
He might want the agapanthus removed. Move on to debate. So we've got a resolution on the table. I know this is quite lengthy.
Yep.
Andre, if you've moved it, would you like to lead the debate, please?
Yeah. I'll just touch really quickly. I did sort of come here today not prepared to retrospectively approve an intersection change, which I found really problematic and not comfortable with leaving in its current state for much longer. But you got to be pragmatic about this stuff, and staff changing to the stop signs now is a really, really good thing. And I'm not going to vote against doing that because it needs to be done, and ideally very, very soon. And yeah, we do need to consider other options. This Kearns Drive will be, the much busier road when the layout all changes, but right by where we're talking about is land that the Ministry of Education also have for a primary school. So before you know it, or probably 10 years away, there'll actually be, an extra couple of hundred vehicle movements here twice a day coming out from Milton's Road with school kids. So we do have to think long term in any changes we make here. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Anyone else wish to speak to it? Mark.
Yeah, really keen to support changing to the stop signs here. Thank you to Andrew and the team for spotting that and getting upgraded. It's been an interesting journey watching this prioritisation of this intersection change, and I understand it's had quite an impact out there in the Halswell fringes, and I'm really looking forward to the day when that Colliers Drive link gets linked up to Dunbar's. The sooner the better on that one, and good luck to the staff with negotiating timing on that. Here's hoping we can get this sorted out, and into the future, this part of Halswell can become a much happier little spot with much better sensibility and its traffic flows, and really keen to see what's going to come out of this, the other options there in that resolution, and see what can be done as an interim or even permanent solution there. So let's get on with this one.
Thank you. Pink?
I think all of it sounds good, except that I'm with Andre saying that to retrospectively approve traffic changes is not something that sits comfortable. So I will vote because I think that the rest of it is good, and investigating stuff it's all good. But I do have a concern about people coming in, oh, we've done this bit of work, we better ask permission. Type of attitude, I don't like it. So that's just my only comment, really.
Okay, thank you, Henk. Anybody else? And Andre's spoken. Andre, do you want a chance to actually conclude?
Yeah, just to echo Henk's comments, I mean, there's a huge overhaul now of the way these types of things will get approved. And of course, this intersection was changed over 2 years ago. And I sort of did come here thinking there's absolutely no way I'm keen to retrospectively approve anything, but the stop controls we're approving today are now the new stop signs, which are needed. So a lot more comfortable with what we got. So very well said from Henk. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Right, I'll put the resolution, the long resolution. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now we're on again to Halswell, Kennedy's Bush Road upgrade. So again, I'll ask Andy Milne and Ed Rogers to actually come back. Thank you.
Yeah, two now.
Yeah, and
We're down to two.
This is a biggie.
for all the big items.
Yeah.
Not really. This one is it's partly retrospective, we also are now introducing a point where we're allowing the board to exercise its power and decision making on other elements that are presented on this scheme plan. Would you? Yeah.
I'll just go through the plan. So just plan first. I have sent through. They asked me to send through a clean version of the plan, which you should all have a copy of now, without the highlighting on. The highlighting on there is to illustrate what is currently built and is therefore retrospective, what is not yet built but will be very soon, and what could be built, which is the new path of purple there. So green is what is already there, the curve on the quarry side, the parking bays on the quarry side, and the path on that quarry side and the quarry entrance. Yellow is what will be done, is on the subdivision side, the north, no, western side, the islands, intersections, so on, and the purple is the proposed additional path on the quarry side to fill that gap. I'll just go through the plan. So this design was went through the road safety audit process, as do all subdivision, all roading subdivisions do, and transport capital projects go through a similar parallel process. The recommendations of that road safety audit, there's a number of recommendations which have gone into what this plan is. The original version of the plan had some angle parking. The recommendations have resulted in them being removed due to safety issues with the reversing vehicles into the cycle lane and things like that. The safety audit recommended it recommended continuing this shared path. that is the proposed path in purple. That was at the time not incorporated because it wasn't a condition of on the developer to do, and there was no identified budget at the time. After hearing the board's concern about that, the decision had been made to consider including it. It would require a variation to the agreement with the developer for the cost shares, but that could happen. The other recommendation of the safety audit was in regards to the pedestrian crossing points and the new intersections, and just the recommendation was to traffic calm the road. So that is where we've ended up with this plan here. We've got speed humps on the pedestrian islands. This is speed humps on the islands rather than a larger platform, because we don't want to give the impression that it's a priority crossing, but we just want to slow the traffic where pedestrians may be. The new intersection for the proposed road, I think it's been named now, but I'm sorry, I don't know what that name may be. It may not have been named. But on this plan, it's just called proposed road. That was part of that whole traffic calming of that area. In terms of data, we didn't have any specific counts on this bit of Kennedy's Bush Road, but there was a count in 2023 further up the road, which had the average speed of 50.2 kilometres an hour, and the 85th percentile speed is.
Is that raised platform there already or just proposed?
Can I just ask for, I've got an order here. People, I've got Mark and then Andre.
Well, just a quick question.
Debbie, yes. So I'm just, I think.
I suppose the other thing that I will say is that the option here for the board is to approve some or all of this traffic calming and the other treatments. This will entirely be part of the consent and will not have any cost to the council. However, if it is not approved, then there's very unlikely to be any budget for it in the future. The council doesn't have a program for traffic calming except in high in situations where there have been crashes that you saw earlier with the Super Street report. So there's certainly no guarantee, and it is the people who will be moving in here who will be the ones wanting it, and they will not even know they will not even know that they're going to be moving in now because they haven't bought a house there yet. So
and so
okay. So can I just get on where I do want to...
Andy had something to say.
Sorry?
The staff had something else to say.
Oh, sorry. It was in response to the half question I heard, and quite right. We're asking them to retrospectively approve the one that's in there right now at the Halswell Quarry entrance. That's in. Okay, and we're asking for your approval for us to proceed or to instruct the contractor to proceed to put in the ped crossing that will go in, the ped refuge islands, and the humps, the speed humps on either side of those ped refuge islands, and the raised platform at that proposed road. So that's what we're asking the board.
So would you be able to point out which one you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yellow. That one in the middle, is it?
This one is here already.
Oh, that one's there.
So we're asking you
I think you need to come to the other screen.
Debbie could see it.
Right. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so this one's here already. So we're asking
retrospective.
Humbly to retrospectively to approve this. It's in, and we've got a rough cost of how much it would cost to take out, So we're asking you to approve that. As part of the resource consent condition, they are required to provide a ped refuge island here and here.
Sorry, I'm not understanding when you say here and here. Where are you referring?
No, I wonder, Debbie, I wonder if we could just continue. And
I'd like to understand
ask
where
the
here and
questions.
here is.
So what's?
Can you see the screen, Debbie?
I can see the screen.
Page 93 of your agenda.
Use the
I-
colour. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have the printed version in front of me.
No, look, we'll just have to do the best we can, Deb. So if you point out that one in the middle.
This one in the middle, this is a raised platform, it hasn't gone in yet, and if you don't want it in, we'll instruct the contractor, don't put it in.
Is this the one you're talking about, corner of proposed road and?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the tier.
Thank you.
And similarly, if you don't want these humps to go in to support this, which will go in, again with your approval, then this is a condition of consent, so it will go in. But we're asking whether you wish you approve those humps going in there, and this platform.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Right, now I had, just going back to my list, I probably lost track of this. Who wanted a question? Mark? Yep.
My question is, those speed humps either side of the refuge, how high are they? 75 mils or 100 mils, or are they going to be sharp juds, or are they going to be just the slow floating ones like you see around?
They'll be to the council standards, parallel. I think they're 75. I don't know for certain, but it can.
You misunderstand the question, I think.
Yes,
They'll be 75, and I think they're about 1.5 meters wide. So
Are you at all?
They're not a sharp, it's always the fun of the car.
Yeah. Are you at all familiar with Waterloo Road in Hornby by the high school in Matatiki Centre?
Yes, yeah, that is the
They're quite slow, sort of low
philosophy
ones.
that we've gone for with these.
Yeah.
I don't know if the actual down to the detail of it is exactly the same, but they should be both following the same council standards.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Andre or Debbie, did you? Andre and then Debbie?
Thank you. So I understand the contractors are there sort of ready to go any day. Now there's conditional consent, there's been plans good to go. If we decide to go ahead without the race safety platform and speed humps, is it an easy process to then go forth? Does the consent have to be changed? How does that change work?
There's a variation of consent.
I don't know that it would need a variation of the consent.
No, it wouldn't, because these humps are not part of the consent. Just the peg refuge islands are.
They're not explicitly part of the consent, but they're part of the accepted plans. If they were removed, it's pretty unlikely that the council would consider the consent not compliant.
No. The as-built plans would not show those on the as-built stamped approved plans.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to clarify one point, the raised platform is a condition of consent, but the speed humps by the refuge islands is not part of that consent condition.
The other way around.
None of the specific conditions of the consent.
Okay.
There's not a line in the consent that says this must be a raised platform. They are a condition.
Yeah.
Generally, because they followed the process, follow the safety audit process, follow the design process.
Yeah.
Come up with what is there now.
Yeah. But both the raised platform and the speed humps are a developer expense, is that correct?
Yes. At this point in time, yes.
Yes. Yep. Gotcha. Cool.
We don't ever get it.
Now, the current raised platform outside the quarry entrance, something we've found to be an issue is the markings on it. It's one of those ones that popped up and it's not all that clearly marked, so it's caught a lot of people by surprise, and has actually resulted in an accident for a cyclist. So my question's around markings on the existing raised platforms and what would need to be done to improve the markings on it and signage warning of it.
Yeah, we can look at that. For quite a while there, they only had temporary markings. It's kind of a sticky tape on it, but that was just getting torn up. It was, there was reason for the delay. They had a contract lined up. Things fell through. They have marked them with proper line marking now. Is that still an issue? What's currently marked there?
I'm just trying to recall if there's particularly visible signage warning you, hey, there's a great big platform about to be here.
We should have some sort of warning sign.
It's over the last couple of weeks, it's been continually flagged with me, just the visibility of the markings. Like when someone goes there for a first time, it's taking people by surprise.
A warning sign is the sort of thing that probably would get picked up at a post-construction audit. Permanent warning signs don't necessarily need, they won't require board approval to install one. So if we do need one, it could just get done through.
So I guess my question is, so I don't need anything in the resolution for just to have a look at the visibility and markings on the platform.
I think it's safe to say we would need to have one. We'll put one in.
Sorry, so you would need a resolution in our item here today?
No, we don't need a resolution.
No. Okay, cool. All right, thank you very much. So, Madam Chair, I wish to move the officer's recommendations. And
excluding the platform.
So number four
and look, I'll second that actually.
So we let him finish.
Hang on. Hang on, am I allowed to speak before you put resolutions in?
No, we'll have to just finish with the staff, I think.
Well, hang on a minute, Helen.
No, I'm sorry. We're going to, if you've got a question,
there's
one last question, and then I'll ask the staff to stand back from the table.
I'd like to ask a question, please, Helen.
Yes, that's fine.
Then I'd love to listen to Andre's resolutions. So you're saying we don't need to approve the raised platform at the end of that proposed road in Kennedy's Bush Road? That's not in there at present.
No, we have to approve that one.
No, hang on a minute. My question, Helen, please, is that raised platform is not there yet, is it?
Yes. Correct. Yes.
Okay. My next question is, as you mentioned, the staff mentioned that people are wanting that raised platform, and even people that haven't moved into the area want that platform. Yet all I hear from people is they don't want platforms anywhere, raised platforms. So I'm just wondering where you get that information from that people want those platforms.
Okay. Yes. The council staff have gone through the high-risk tickets and looked at the feedback through to the interim speed management plan and the draft speed management plan that was in 2022 and 2023. They've found that the majority of requests were for people wanting some traffic calming on their street, people drive down the street too fast, can we put speed bump here, that sort of thing. There were not that many that were negative. I have got some numbers.
So this is from Kennedy's Bush Road residents you're talking about?
Well, the thing is, nobody lives there right now.
No, but there are people that are on Kennedy's Bush Road, way up the top, that use that road to exit out to go to the city, that are fuming about these raised platforms. So have you consulted with them about that raised platform?
We haven't done any specific consultation on this.
So there's been no door knocking to see what their views are on it?
No, and that's why there was a briefing to council at the end of April, identifying there was a flaw in our subdivision process. And therefore we're trying to put that right.
I understand that. So that's
and presenting you with the opportunity to exercise your powers to approve or not what hasn't gone in already.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate that. I was just trying to preempt what Helen was saying before about that we must.
I'm sorry, Deb. I'm just asking him.
Excuse me, Helen. You were trying to advise the board that we must approve it, when we
we're
don't
running out of
actually,
time,
because the
and I
staff
just-
have just said
I don't want.
we don't
Look, I'm going
need
to raise
to.
a point of order, Deb. If I'm the chair and I'm able to chair the meeting,
But you're misinforming the members, Helen.
I'm sorry.
You're misinforming the
I'm
members.
I'm sorry.
You are misinforming the members.
Oh, well, what can I do?
I've got a question.
Move on.
Sorry?
Move on.
I've got a question.
You've got a question, go ahead.
Just with around that question about the people people requesting raised platforms. Could you appreciate that for a lot of road users that find the roads adequate and helpful and good, and that there's no amendments required, that they wouldn't necessarily give you that feedback, so that you have that balance of people wanting speed bumps and people not wanting them?
Yes, definitely. I mean, generally what we, this is speaking very generally, people want slower speeds on the street they live on, and they want faster speeds on the street they drive through. That's the general rule. So and I guess my point there is that you will not be hearing from anybody who lives on this bit of Kennedy Football, because currently nobody does. But it will be, and I suppose at the point that the board starts getting requests for that, there'll be no money for it. Or there's no council program with money for it. That might change in the future, but that is not in. I suppose it's in some of your hands in the future LTPs, but it is not in any one person's hands.
Can I just move on? I mean, we have time. Hank's got a question, and then I think we'll ask the staff to stand back from the table and we'll take resolutions. Hank?
Just a simple case of clarification, really. On that refuge at the bottom of the picture there, or 2/3 down, what's the reasoning of having a crossing there? Because if I look at the picture there, Andre, you might be able to help me there, but can you that up in there? Why the positioning there? It seems from the map it seems an odd place with nobody going anywhere.
Yes, two reasons. One is that the resource consent specifically requires that they have two crossings connecting to the quarry. So along the development frontage, the boundary is here. This lot here is not part of this subdivision. So one, it had to be along the frontage. This stormwater basin, it doesn't show on this plan, but the stormwater basin will have paths going through it, and those paths come out right here. So there'll be a stormwater basin with paths where people can walk through there, come straight out onto where the crossing point is, cross the road, go on onto the quarry.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's why that's there. The one up there has got a.
I can understand that one there.
Yeah,
that's pretty straightforward.
But you're right, it's not entirely clear that the stormwater has a walkway, but it does.
And the other thing is, it seems an excessive amount of speed bumps and humps and platforms for a relatively short distance of road.
Yeah, the key there is that we've proposed them at locations where there will be conflicts. So at locations where pedestrians will be crossing, or where there will be vehicle versus cyclist, vehicle versus vehicle conflict. So the intersection and the crossings. That's why they are in the locations that they are.
Okay, no, thank you. I'm going to ask you to stand back in the meantime from the table on this. Andre's said he had a resolution.
Yeah, do we know who's paying for that platform?
I'm sorry, Deb, but we have to run some time frame.
Developers.
And it's
Thank you, Andre.
New homeowners. Yeah.
Thank you.
Andre, go ahead and move a resolution so we have something on the table.
Yeah, thank you. So I wish to move the officer recommendations, and in item number 4 on those recommendations, I wish to take out the word speed humps and raised platform.
So you gave option 2.
So you're approving.
So all the officer recommendations in the agenda item.
Yes.
I wish to approve, but in number 4, just taking out the word speed humps and raised platform. It all incorporates retrospectively approving the existing raised platform. It approves the new footpath, and it basically goes ahead with, well, what you see without the new raised platform and without the new speed humps. Yep.
So
Andre,
can I clarify, does it go ahead with the raised platform in the middle there?
No.
My resolution does not proceed with the raised platform, additional raised platform, or speed humps.
Sure.
So you're moving option 2. Is that right, Andre?
Well, in the agenda item, Luke, on page 85, there's all the officer recommendations. So it's moving everything that's there, which basically incorporates what you're seeing in option 2, the same thing, but also without the speed humps part. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And platforms.
And
Yes,
you mean the platform, the middle
yes.
platform as well, which hasn't been built as yet?
So it includes the new refuge islands. It includes the new footpath, where it's retrospectively approving the current already platform.
At the corner of the entrance of the quarry.
Sorry, Deb, I've got a question. Mark's got his hand up, so Andre's clarifying.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just quickly check with you?
Yes.
Does what you're moving include the 2.5 metre path mentioned in 4.10?
Yeah, it does. So if you look down just here, new infrastructure is highlighted in yellow in attachment A, and the proposed additional path on the quarry side is highlighted purple.
Okay.
So at the start of number 4, it approves the new paths.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a seconder?
Me, Debbie.
There you go, Debbie.
Debbie?
So can I just clarify, I've shared the screen with you, I think, so Andre, it's just as with the deletions being shown highlighted yellow, otherwise the staff recommendation on the agenda, is that correct?
Yeah, thanks, Faye, you're all over it. It's
Yes. Okay, so we've got something on the table now, and they have questions or comments.
Can I just check, do we need to take out the at new subdivision intersection as well?
Yes.
Talking about the raised platform.
You're asking staff?
Well, I guess it's
Yes,
staff.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, it would be, I think if you just, to highlight that.
Take that out.
And delete that.
Let's.
Would that be confusing? Because that could mean that you want to take out the raised platform that's already there at the entrance.
No, it's only the future Kennelly's Bush intersection.
I'll get another question from Sarah, and then,
Andre, just to ensure nothing has been overlooked, have you gone through every single item on this to ensure that this is exactly what we want and we're not going to get some extras?
Well, you've got me nervous when you say it.
I'd almost be prepared to take the time out to make sure that we don't.
Well, perhaps we can have a break, but
it's basically everything is there. It's all in that original officer recommendation. It's all the same, but it's just without the raised platform and new speed humps. So it's
Okay.
I think that needs to be clarified a bit further at the end of the new subdivision intersection and in brackets proposed road.
No, because the existing one's under option is number 3 on the board, so we're not touching that. It's only number 4 we're changing.
This all reads nice and clear to me. And
I agree.
How do you know it's proposed road?
So we've got a mover and
how do you know it's proposed road?
Because Debbie, it refers to attachment.
We'll have it. I think we'll have a break and have it.
No, because I need to go, Helen. Helen, I need to go. So if we can vote on this, would be wonderful.
I'm sorry, Deb. I'm chairing this meeting.
Yes, but you allowed.
I want you to actually respect
because
this.
Tyler left. So can you please allow for us to vote on this before I leave?
Well, I'm going to get into it. Well, we're going to try and get to it, Henk.
I want to be able to vote against for everything, but I don't want to vote retrospectively. I want to send a clear message that this is unacceptable.
So to be clear, Henk, what you're voting for is to spend $40,000 on removing a raised platform.
No, I don't want. I don't. No.
Sorry, if you're voting against number 3, that's
Henk's making a statement. I think he's saying he's not happy with the approval and a retrospective.
I'm not happy either.
But I mean, yes, we kind of.
I'd like the opportunity to vote against that part of it.
Yes. And
I like that report.
Which is vote against?
3. It's number 3.
So Andre, unless people want a break, do you want a break? Okay. So we'll move on with with the resolution, Andre will start the formal debate on it. Andre, to speak as mover?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to staff for making the changes and providing a really clear report, anticipating different options and everything else has been really good. Just on the point that a raised platform would be unlikely to be built here in future, that's because it wouldn't be seen as a priority in the context of all the roading infrastructure we do. As for new homeowners wanting it, the new homeowners are the ones that have to pay for it because it's a developer expense, so it's directly paid for by new homeowners. And there's only a few dozen homes there. So you do it home by home, each of them are paying thousands of dollars towards infrastructure. And if you ask them, would you rather pay for it and have it or not, I suspect most would actually say they'd rather not. And for the ones living directly outside it, that's a couple of thousand more vibrations every day. Once it's all built up, I do not see speeds increasing from where they are at currently. There's one raised platform currently. If it was going to go any place, it's probably where it needs to be. That's right down the bottom of the hill. All the feedback I've had has been very, very close to unanimous from dozens and dozens of people around the area. And that is that they all absolutely support a path on both sides. This is an awesome facility. It needs to be accessible inside and outside of it for all users, regardless of their ability, age, or whatever else. And I very much stand by what we're doing here. It's very consistent with all the feedback I've had thus far. Usually we get a lot of conflicting feedback, but this just has not been that in this case. So I'm very comfortable with moving what I'm moving here. Thank you.
Thank you. Andre, Mark?
Debbie, the seconder.
No, we've checked on that, Debbie. There's no particular right for a seconder,
Debbie,
but you are welcome to speak after
Thanks,
Mark.
Yeah, look, I just want to say, as a Halswell resident who regularly uses that area and regularly meets with people in and around the quarry area, is what Andre has said as well. It's pretty much unanimous that they are tired of speed humps. And look, Andre's summarised it very clearly, and thank you, Andre, for finding out about all of this in the first place. So that's why I was questioning about that speed hump, because, and as the staff mentioned, no, there hasn't been door knocking or feedback from the actual residents on Kennedy's Bush Road that are already existing there, and they're the ones that have said quite clearly, made it clear to me and obviously to Andre as well, that they're not wanting it. And many residents are not wanting them. They're crying out all the time in all areas of Christchurch where you've had enough of speed humps. They're coming down from Kennedy's Bush Road. They've got one at the entrance. They don't want another one as they're going out. It's hard enough. So that's why I'm supporting Andre's amendment there as well, along with everything else. And I hear what you're saying as well, Henk. But they're already there and are being proactive in what we're wanting. We're really just saying no to what isn't there at this point, because it would be a lot more expensive to remove once we put them in. But thank you for staff for understanding our process going forward from now as well.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep, no, really happy to support the local councillor on this one. Good work, Andre, in getting this daylighted, and it's good to get the new process going forward. So it's going to be, really beneficial, I think, to have the ability to input into this process earlier. I'm really happy with the idea there of taking out the speed humps and the extra raised platform. Good, you've listened well to your public and got a pragmatic solution. So let's get this decided. And reluctantly, I will support the raised platforms at the quarry entrance. It's in there. It doesn't make any sense to spend $40,000 pulling it out. So I will reluctantly support that. And the good thing is it will at least slow down some of the issues they've had with people speeding down that hill. So we'll have a good purpose. We just need to make sure we get it well enough delineated that everyone can see it and understand it's there, rather than finding it by mistake and accident as they hit it. So happy to support this and carry on with the Horsell development.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? I'd just like to speak briefly. I looked at this in a positive way. I'm probably pro street treatments. I've heard the elected members though, so what I'll do is lodge a formal abstention, I think, just on the grounds that the public seem to be against it. So all those in favour say aye.
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 Against? Against, carried, and I'll formally
Sorry,
abstain.
did Debbie vote against it?
No, it was
delayed.
time.
No, I said aye.
Oh, sorry, Debbie,
Yes.
it's delayed.
Sorry, it came through quite a bit after.
Okay.
I was
Now-
like, what?
I'd like to seek advice. We should finish by 7. We've had these weighty items. My view would be that we go through the briefer items and get them out of the way. And if there's time, come back to Quaifs Road.
Can I just say the staff, it's the same staff, so if we can do Quaifs Road, then the staff
Okay.
can leave. Yeah.
So what do people want to do? Because I think we're going to go to at least 7:30.
Quaifs should be much less contentious, Helen, because
Is
there's no new infrastructure. It's purely retrospective.
Yeah,
So are you wanting to
Move to item 16.
proceed with Quaifs Road?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to pay money to
Thank
take
you.
it out. Put it that way.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think I agree with Andre there that Quaifs Road is, so just for a little bit of context, all 3 of these reports were all written at the exact same time. And Quaifs Road trimmed down to being just what's already there. And we've got the context of what the future stuff will be on Quaifs Road that will be coming to the board in future, but that's not for this decision. So, so there's some context in that report for your information, really, and we'll come back to the board later on that whole ODP area. We need to talk to Ross tomorrow.
So I've got a question.
Yeah.
Ross came in and talked about speed limits and they seem very unclear. Is that going to be sorted?
They have to be easy. Well, it's Andre's right as well. It's tied up in the central government's education and the changing of speed limits. Other staff within the council are handling the speed limits, but yes, it's a complicated thing. Council staff are in conversation with NZTA as the regulator on what can and can't happen. It's an ongoing conversation. I'm not actually involved in the conversation, so cannot directly say, but yeah, it's not an ideal situation. And it's complicated, but I'm not directly involved, so I can't really speak.
And the other question I had, he talked about a speed hump going outside his property and there was no consultation.
That's what we need to talk to him about. There is 2 new intersections coming in on either side there, where we have proposed a platform or hump, but they shouldn't be starting construction until we've come to the board. And I thought that we'd been pretty clear with them on that.
So was he bringing up something that isn't on the paper today?
It's not something that's for the board to approve today. It is something that will come to the board to approve later. And we're going to need to talk to Ross and to the find out exactly what is happening there.
So you are planning to
speak these plans. He knows where his house is. He can see what is planned on his house. He may see them. They may be starting preparatory works and earthworks and stuff. They may be undergrounding the power. The power lines there.
Yeah, there's people out there. I went past there this morning. I don't recall going over a
platform.
Speed hump there.
That would usually be the very last stage. Like Kennedy's Bush Road, they've done like there's a problem on Kennedy's Bush Road. Sorry, to another item, but where the manhole covers are up above it. That's because they haven't put the final road surface on, and they haven't put the final road surface on because they haven't. We told them to stop.
Yeah.
And well,
Don't build a raised platform.
And just wait for a decision on the raised platform. So they'll probably be starting on that tomorrow. I mean, we'll tell them.
Well, I've sent an email earlier on, just to clarify that they are to halt any construction of a raised platform there.
I'm not quite sure, but I'll open.
Yeah, could we
things
go
up
back to Quays
This
Road?
one,
Other people.
Quays Road, the decision for the board is whether to keep or remove these platforms at these intersections. Now, for context, the reason that these have gone in is because on Quays Road, there are 2 drains on either side. Now, the drain on the development side, there's a requirement in the ODP that developers naturalise that drain. That is, instead of having a big box channel, they have a nice pretty waterway that's ecologically good and all that. I'm not an expert on that, but that's the requirement. So as part of that, they've actually shifted and made some more space on the development side. The one on the other side is not even a council-owned drain. For some reason, it's owned by ECAN. No one told. Because it's a drain in a waterway, there's consents that need to be got to do it. The water needs to go somewhere, and really, there's a lot of very expensive things that would need to happen in order to widen the road that way.
So just to add to that
and to widen the road,
because it's 60 kph, typically you need a right turn lane in order to make a safe right turn, because it's 60 kph.
So yes, but because of these drains, we don't have the space to create a right turn back.
Hence, the platforms were a best option.
Yes.
I'm probably not quite.
No tail crashes.
I'll open the questions up to other people. I think. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, just a quick question, and I think I know the answer to this already, but I'll just check. These sort of retrospective approvals will no longer be going forward. Will be asked to approve before the raised platforms are put in.
There'll be a catch-up period.
Yeah.
But yes, the intention is everything goes before the board, before it goes in.
Yeah.
There will be places where things have already gone in, and they may be in 1 year, 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Question from Andre.
Or just so you know, I'm ready to move a resolution. Just whenever it's going to think.
He's supportive. He's saying he's supportive of it. Okay.
He's wanted to move a resolution.
Yes. Can I just hold fire at present? We've got questions. So, any question, Andre?
No, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Negative.
Well, thank you, staff. If you stay,
Sorry,
go ahead.
just really quickly, I'm still just trying to understand how we got to this. So you're saying that there's just in layman, real basic terms.
Yep.
It's the developers that had a responsibility to put the drainage in, and that how did that impact
on their side of the road? So they
So how do we get a raised platform from that though?
So not directly. What the drain is the constraint to how wide we can make the road. The drains on both sides. At Matai Springs, they have relocated the drain in accordance with their consent on their land, or what was their land was being used for the council, I imagine. But there's not really any scope to widen that longer, because that's what's been consented for their.
So was a raised platform required because the road has been narrowed?
No, the road has actually been widened from what it was. The raised platform was required because it could not be widened enough to get a right turn bay. So a right turn bay for traffic to stop and wait.
Okay.
Without obstructing through traffic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Is the question, Andre, or you wanting?
I'm happy to move the officer recommendations with the additional numbers.
I'll actually just ask staff to stand back.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. And I've got a resolution from Andre.
So Andre, the resolution I've shared with you is staff is staff recommendation plus C highlighted yellow, is that correct?
That's correct, thank you.
Okay. Right, a seconder? Luke?
Yep.
A question or a speaking?
It's a comment.
Well, I'll get Andre to speak to it, okay?
Fair enough, fair enough.
And then, okay, Andre, if you want to speak to it, please.
Or I won't speak to the item, but just for some additional context on number 6, you may recall the briefing from February. There are areas around here where some infrastructure was built, but not the footpath, which would have to be filled in later. So it's purely around requesting advice on filling in missing footpath connections as we proceed, along with more decisions on Quaifs Road to do things at the same time, rather than having to retrospectively come back and fill in footpaths later.
Okay, that sounds okay. We've got moved, Andre. Anyone else wish to speak to this, please? Pink, or you have a question?
No, I just want to make my point clear again. I do not like the system. And although we have an assurance that it won't happen again, we also have an assurance that this may drag on for another 5 years. Now, sorry, that's unacceptable. I'll keep my language slow. It's rubbish. That we get to a point where we retrospectively approve stuff. So in other words, we have no say because the cost of removing them is too high. I wouldn't put that on any ratepayer. So we're being forced to agree with something that's already been done because it's too expensive to remove it. Sorry, that's a horrible thing to have to do. I will vote for it because I see the sense in what's there, but I want to make my objection strong enough to be remembered.
Yeah. Mark.
Yep, and I do tend to understand and agree with that sentiment, but for the sake of getting this approved and allowing the progress to continue, I'm going to vote for it, and I'm really looking forward to the new process going forward, and it's going to be very beneficial, I think, having that ability to look at helping to steer the developments. So bring on the new system. And let's get on to this and put it behind us.
Okay, so I have some reservations after we've had the deputation, but I'm going to take the recommendations of our Halswell councillor. I think it's the only way forward at this point, and I'm not totally clear about the issues either. So I'll just accept the experience of other people. Okay, so anyone else want to speak? No, I'll put the resolution with item 6 as well. Request staff advice on options to fill in missing footpath connections on Quaif Road to consider as part of the future Quaif Road decisions to be presented to the board. Okay, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Now, do you want a break for 5 minutes? No?
No.
I believe shortly.
It's got a short break.
I'm okay.
You're fine, okay?
Carry on.
Thank you very much, staff, for your time this evening.
Thank you. Item 18 is the discretion of 17. I'm jumping ahead. Which is item 17.
This is sending.
Oh, women in politics, yes. Can't miss that one out. So I'm happy to actually move.
I'm happy to second.
Second?
Yep.
Any discussion?
Because I can't ask questions now.
Yeah, sure, if you want to.
How much does it cost?
Yeah.
So for Marie to attend the summit, there's no cost. It's just the cost for her to fly to Auckland and back.
So are we funding that?
And accommodation.
Yeah. So that's an internal budget that
we have a training budget.
Professional development budget. It's just, this is more to advise the board that she'll be attending.
Yeah. And that's really great that Marie's been invited, and I wouldn't be against that. There's also, I think that we really need to emphasize what's available, because I think a lot of us with our busy lives and all that, we forget that there's actually funds available for professional development or other things that may not be on our radar. So it might be helpful if it was, across the community boards that we're all informed every, I don't know, couple of times a year that it is available, and if there was things on the radar that we might be of interest. Yeah.
Yes,
that's great.
I think, I think that's probably helpful if we can do it.
I completely forgot about the fund until this came up. Yeah.
Yes, and it's a small training fund. It's not very large, is it?
No, it's more than that.
It's more than that,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but it's been increased recently, so.
And what
the
happens-
budget
Oh, it's
for-
gone, okay.
At the end of our term, if it's not used, it just stays in
council.
in our community board fund. But
Don't think
no,
so.
it's
In the financial
council,
year, but
not
Yeah,
a board.
it's not a board fund, it's my budget. Yeah.
Oh,
It's an internal budget.
It's not spent, it's not spent.
In the new term, there'll be in more budget.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
As in, it's allocated for us to spend this term. No?
Each year, each financial year.
Oh, each year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But it ends, so it will end, this budget end in June?
Yes.
And we'll start again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I missed the seconder for that motion. Was it?
Me?
Do you want to give it to me?
Had to think about
Now,
that.
who moved it?
You did it.
You did. I didn't.
That's all right. I'm not the only one.
Seconded it.
I did.
I thought you did, yeah. Okay. So I'll put this to the board. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Number 18.
Sorry to keep you with them.
The staff would like to come to the table. Thank you.
I take the report as read.
Yes.
Are open to any questions.
Right, so we've got a mover and a seconder. Mover Mark,
I have a question.
seconded Luke, but we're doing this a bit back to front, but we are heading on questions now, if anyone's got any questions.
Me first?
Yes, speak.
Yeah.
I noticed that the Korean painting group is requesting funding from us to pay ourselves.
Right. That often happens with our Strengthening Communities Fund, and that does that, our whole hire.
Is there a way we can just zero rate it for people like this?
Good point.
No, and not presently.
Okay.
That did used to happen years and years ago,
Okay.
but now they went this way, so it was very transparent what groups were receiving, what council was charging, and it meant that it was equitable for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Allows the tracing of money internally.
absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, cool. That was the only question. That's only really the question that I have. I can't see too much of the point. I can understand that.
Yes.
But it's a bit of a money go round.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you. So I'll ask you to stand up. No further questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got a.
Mark, Luke, you seconded that also.
Yes, I'm happy for that.
Okay.
Mark and Luke.
Mark and Luke. So all those in favour of approving those applications, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Now, the Community 19, Community Service and Youth Awards.
Just remind.
And I have to remind them, there's a PX attachment. So if anyone is concerned about any of the possible nominees, we'd need to go to PX. So I question, do we need to go to PX?
Yes.
You'd like to go to PX?
Yes.
Thank you.
We need the motion that's
So-
on the agenda.
I'll second it.
Right, Mark's moved
I'll
to
second
go
it.
to PX that at
7:18.
7:15 PM, the resolution to exclude the public sector set out on pages 141 to 142 of the agenda be adopted. A mover is Mark, a seconder is Luke.
Yes.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against?
Yeah,
Carried.
If you can just wait a moment while I.
And I will
Not
just,
live stream.
I will just ask people
Just
who
wait
are
a moment.
not staff
Just wait, we need
to actually leave the room, but we're going to have a discussion on applicants.